Make some noise.
We're all set, Mr. Chair.
Okay, with that, I would like to call the regular meeting of the Genoa Charter Township Board of Trustees for December 15th, 2025 to order at 6:30 p.m. I would ask you all please rise and join me for the invocation. Heavenly Father, as we gather together in this season of anticipation and joy, we thank you for sending Jesus, the greatest gift ever given. We seek your clarity and guidance as we do the people's work tonight. May the actions we take honor you and bring peace, unity, and light to every heart present. We look for a renewed sense of purpose entering the new year and continued opportunity to serve our residents in your image. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Please remain standing for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I get a roll call, Clerk Susie?
Sure. Walker.
Here.
Ryberg.
Here.
Hunt.
Here.
Hovater.
Here.
Susie here. Spicer.
Here. Okay. I have quorum. With that, I would like to open the call to the public at 6:31 p.m. I would ask that anyone here for the hearing for the Round Lake Aquatic Weed Control Special Assessment Role, please hold until the hearing process portion of that agenda item. So this is general call to the public, please.
Mike Fleming.
He's Round Lake, I think.
He didn't check. Round Lake. Okay. Are you here for Round Lake?
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on.
And I'm sorry, I cannot read the first name. The last name is Bizbickus? Yeah, that's me.
Good evening. My name is Agnieszka Bizbikas, AGA for short, 2511 Little Sunset Trail. I have a couple things I want to talk about. The first being I want to take a moment to acknowledge the candidates that are about to speak here. I want to acknowledge their bravery to do it in such a public forum. I know whenever I take a job interview in a public or in a private setting, it's always intimidating. So just want to remind everyone to be kind to them and just acknowledge their bravery, and good luck to all of them. The second thing I want to speak about is I think it's the Brighton Road property, the one that was spoken about a couple weeks ago, how it's invasive. There was a couple things that was spoke about. One idea I do want to kind of throw out there, and it's a little different, but goats for hire. I don't know if that was ever discussed, but that is a way to clear property, especially the smaller twigs and invasive stuff. I know Van Buren Township does it for Belleville Lake on the slopes where machinery can't reach it, but I've also seen it on development lands where they'll clear it. I have not looked into the financials of it, but maybe it'll make sense. And then if we get all the little invasive stuff out, maybe then a logging company will be more enticed to come in at a better bid. That was my second thing. And the third thing I want to speak about is with all the data center talk in Michigan, I would really like to push on a ordinance and review our ordinance just to make sure that we are protecting our greenland. An idea is we are doing these public workshops on different topics. I would be interested in seeing a workshop of the community coming together to work on ordinance together. People always say that collaboration happens better in a group setting. So maybe if we get a couple people together in a room for a couple hours, maybe we can come up with some ordinance that we can present to the township lawyer as well to review. Sometimes it's hard to come up with those by yourself, but I know a room full of people can spark ideas. So those are my 3 comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Colleen Quinn?
Good evening. Colleen Quinn, 4042 Brookstone Court. First, I want to thank you for initiating a third-party investigation as to why the clerk left. I'm interested in hearing the findings and takeaways from this investigation. I also want to make an additional comment about about prior clerk Deaton's concerns about not receiving the required resources and support to effectively do her job. Comments were made at the different meetings about how this was the first time the board experienced such a significant turnover. And in my opinion, and I didn't say it at the time, the two positions that should have received priority would be the clerk and the supervisor. To me, the regular trustees should be onboarded, whatever your process is, after the clerk and supervisor are up and running. So I would encourage you guys to make any process changes so this never happens again. It's not strategic. It is good that you are doing a more involved process to fill the open trustee position now, but it still irks me that backfilling the clerk's position was done the way it was done. It just doesn't pass the smell test. As I looked at the selected applicants, I noticed at least one person who ran in the last election and was not elected. And I believe the supervisor said that no one who ran and lost would be considered. So why is this person up for consideration now? And with the exception of that comment, I would say it looks like you have some great candidates to choose from. In the spirit of transparency, I am requesting that the citizens be made aware of which candidates each of you chose. I think it's a fair request, and I look forward to that information being revealed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Andy Hobarger.
I have a letter from Susan Nichols that I said I would read for her. It says, "Good evening, Board of Trustees. I read a portion of the packet regarding the 7 applicants that were chosen for interviews through the application process. I would like to reiterate to the board that Kevin's previous edict regarding clerk selection, not appointing someone that ran for office and lost, would hold true for the trustee position. Jeff DeHanes, in my opinion, does not qualify since he ran for office twice and lost both times by large margins. I also would like to remind the board of the slandering comments he made regarding the slate and Kevin. The following comments were made by Jeff on his own website, which has since been taken down. He claimed that all primary winners are against all progress and development, against all housing, against parks, against green spaces, and the most appalling was that you canvassed for signatures for cannabis facilities and that you took funding from the cannabis industry. This is not someone the public would want and position at the township, and I hope you wouldn't either. There are a couple of good choices, and I personally would recommend Jim Carpenter. He has been at most meetings and has gotten involved with the county master plan. I am praying you will do the right thing in your selection of a trustee. I would also hope a motion to make an appointment is made until last. During the selection of the clerk, motion for appointment was made and seconded, which did not allow discussion for all board members. This seemed unfair, and I hope for a motion for an appointment will be saved until the very end. Thank you. Susan Nichols.
Thank you, Susan. Through Candy.
That's all I have, sir.
Would anyone else like to address the board with a non-Round Lake statement?
Hi, good evening. My name is Michelle Benson. My family has lived in Livingston County for over 50 years. I grew up here. I spent my summers at Oak Point. This community is my home. And that's why what I've learned over the past year compels me to speak tonight. At the previous meeting, a resident asked for an update on specific ongoing lawsuit involving a woman being targeted by this township board. Later in that meeting, Trustee Reiber asked a basic and responsible follow-up question, a list of all lawsuits, their status, and the amount of taxpayer money being spent on each. I hope Trustee Reiber was given the detailed information he requested. Through those requests, it became clear that most of this board, except Supervisor Spicer, has no clue what lawsuits are current or pending, nor the costs associated with them. This should alarm every resident in this room. Approving and funding litigation without knowing what cases are being pursued or how much public money is being spent is not governance. It's a failure of oversight and neglect of duty. One of those cases deserves serious public attention. Since the board seems reluctant to provide such transparency on this excessive area and the use of taxpayer funds, I'm here to provide an update on one of those cases that unfortunately continues to this date, and that involves selective enforcement and relentless harassment with seemingly no end in sight. This began with repeated complaints from a so-called neighbor that we now know those complaints came from the resident's ex-husband, calling the township week after week, not out of safety concerns, but to cause disruption and hardship in her life. The township eventually intervened over a minor permit issue, one typically resolved with a standard fine. Instead, the board chose selective and excessive prosecution, placing an avoidable and crushing financial burden on a single mother of two, while also misusing public funds. In December of 2024, Supervisor Spicer acknowledged in his office that this was not how a township normally handles permit enforcement. And yet here we are. The deck has since been removed since February 2025. There's no open violations. This issue was resolved more than 10 months ago, so the public deserves to ask, what's the objective now? Why is this board still funding litigation against a resident who's been compliant for over almost nearly a year? Why has she faced threats of jail, demands to reimburse the attorneys for over $30,000 in legal fees, and now most recently, a request for a search warrant to force entry onto her property to look for something new to charge? At the last meeting, the township manager stated that approximately $15,000 has been spent on legal fees this year. Yet public records show Seward Henderson alone has billed over $100,000 since this board took office. And that firm is just one of the multiple law firms billing this township every month. Which number is accurate?
If you could wrap it up, the 3 minutes are up.
You got it. At minimum, I think this board should immediately stop all non-emergency litigation related to resolve matters until the independent investigation is complete. Why was de-escalation never a priority? I need you to halt non-emergency litigation and spending immediately, thoroughly dispose every lawsuit and spending firm, and publicly explain why resolution was never prioritized over punishment.
Okay, would anyone else like to address the board?
Hello, board members. You all look nice and happy tonight in this cold weather, ready for the Christmas season. Anyway, I'm Frank Castle. I live at 4355 Filbert Drive on Round Lake. I've lived there for 57 years, and I'm here to fully support our weed control program that we're trying to get the SAD district going on it. And part of the reasons are, you know, I'm a water skier, even though I'll be 89 here in a week or so. And I only went skiing a couple times last year in the first part of April and in September, before the waterfowl and the weeds took over. And what I didn't mention a couple weeks ago was during the summertime when the weeds took over, I probably took close to maybe 2 cubic yards of weeds off my beach, which is only 100 feet of lake frontage. And on my yard, even though I have a fence, I probably took off a 10-quart pail of goose droppings, you know. So quite a bit there. And so you wonder how many goose droppings going in the lake. And now we also have, you know, a major problem with the geese, of maybe 30 on the lake at the same time. And now the invasive swans are starting to take over. So maybe if we get some weed control and get some of the weeds out of there, we'll get the lake back instead of the waterfall. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll consider that the first comment from the call to the property owners during the hearing. Anyone else with any general related comments to the board? Seeing none, I will close the call to the public at 6:44 p.m. Moving on, I would entertain a motion regarding the consent agenda.
Mr. Supervisor, I have a request for an amendment to the minutes, which I think is part of the consent agenda to approve this.
We could
Just
move
go ahead and
that
remove
to the
You could just
regular?
move it down to
Remove
regular
the minutes.
business items.
From the consent agenda, and
Then can I make that motion then to do that?
yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I make a motion to move, request to for number 2, request to approve the regular meeting minutes from number 2 down to number 3, if you'd like.
2. Still
It'll
2.
still be number 2. Yeah.
I'll be happy with that.
Okay.
I'll second.
So
Okay.
is that to approve the consent with item 1?
I don't have a problem with item 1. Mine is with it's just an amendment to the meeting minutes.
Okay, so a motion to approve the consent agenda with item 2 moved to the regular agenda. I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. At this time, I would entertain a motion on the amended regular agenda.
I'd move approval of the regular agenda with items 2 through 12.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Regular agenda is approved. Action item number 2 is a request to approve the December 1st, 2025 regular meeting minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Just some clarification so that the board has this. It would be page number 18 in the board packet. Give me just a second, my mouse froze up. Yeah. Sorry, page 18, it would be the last item for discussion, legal services. So, so I did request more detail than I did get. I think all of us got a copy from Kelly of Joe here had offered a list of ongoing projects that he's working on. And what I had requested was for all of the legal cases, regardless of which law firm was involved with it. So I have not yet got that, but I would like the meeting minutes to reflect. It does say that Mr. Reiber would like to know the details of all of them, but I'm sorry. See it says Mr. Reiber stated he's aware of some of the township's litigation, but he does not know all of them. Supervisor Spire stated that there are 5 current cases. Mr. Reiber would like to know the details of all of them, and I don't want that to imply that just those 5 cases. My request was for all of the legal cases, not just those 5. The way that the sentences run on, people could misconstrue that it was just those 5.
As far as I know, there is only 5, although one, I think, may be coming up to be 6, but as far as I know, we have 5 total cases.
Right, but in the expense report, there were, I'm sorry, the bills, there was probably 5 different law firms besides Joe's that were mentioned in there. Legal representation for various reasons.
So I know we talked at the meeting about the Michigan tax tribunals, and that I didn't think the board wanted those.
Correct. That was
So
my
that is
impression
one
as
of the
well.
firms.
Although,
So, I mean, I
All
just,
the litigation that's currently pending before the township is what was sent to you, with the exception of one tax tribunal case.
those were land use litigation courses?
Correct. And that is all of the litigation that the township is currently engaged in, with the exception of a tax tribunal case.
Okay. What about the rest of the legal services? Besides lawsuits, right? So I had requested, I would like to have the opportunity to be brought up to speed with the specific services each attorney or law firm provides our residents. With the history of each case, the plaintiff and defendants, the current status, next steps, the cost to the township that has been paid to date for each case. And I also wanted to make that information public. And I'm not here to re-debate something we talked about last time, but I want to make sure that the meeting minutes reflect more accurately what my request was.
okay, so what part are you disputing? You would like to know the details of them?
Yep, you can just say, if the current cases, Mr. Reiber would like to know the details of, do you see where that is, Patty?
All pending cases, maybe?
I would like to know the details of the specific services
each attorney or law firm provides our residents, the history of each case, defendants and plaintiffs.
You didn't go into that depth at the,
I did, because I wrote it down right here. The cost of each of those, and I did want to make a request to make that public information as much as possible.
I think it's probably proper, if we're going to add that, then to, Attorney Seward mentioned that some of that could not be disclosed.
And I was okay with that. I said if it's legally to, copacetic to do that, I get it, but if it's not in secret, then I was clear on that, so I agree with you.
Okay. And Mr. Seward offered to provide the complaints for all active cases, which he did a couple days later.
How do we make that then public? And I don't believe I saw the cost for the pursuit of all of those cases, which I had asked for.
Yeah, there's not a specific breakdown of the costs we can talk about.
I mean, but there's paychecks that we've been writing month after month, right? So somebody could give
Yeah,
us
the
a running total.
The total legal bill's in there, absolutely.
So,
Well, and I recall discussing the cost of legal fees, and we jumped to the budget line items to show how much we've spent. I don't recall a request for each specific line item.
it was for all legal services. And like I said, I don't want to belay this. I would just like the meeting minutes to reflect more accurately what my request was. So if Patty, if you were able to capture what I read to you? Okay.
So this is not debating the request again, it's just cleaning up the,
It's cleaning up the meeting minutes, but I'm still gonna, when we get to my discussion items with the list of tasks and details and follow-up items, I'm gonna ask that that be one of the things that we follow up on a regular basis. More to come on that one, but just, my request was to amend the meeting minutes.
Okay.
As long as that's what was stated.
I'm a little concerned. I don't
we
have
can play back the video.
that photographic of a memory, but if we're gonna add that, then we need to add that our attorney advised us that only the publicly available records should be released to the.
I was okay with that. I was okay.
That
with
I
that.
remember.
He did,
should we
and that
add
is
like
in the minutes.
pending a review of the video of the meeting to confirm?
How we do that.
Well,
Well, I'm hearing some concerns as to whether those statements were actually made. The minutes are to reflect what actually was said. So if you're going to amend the minutes.
I will volunteer then to go back and review the video. I'll call out the timestamps there, and then if, I don't know how we would do that to amend the agenda for tomorrow or something like that. But I guess if the board would leave it open and give me some time to put a little, go back to actually what was said. I know it was in the discussion items, because I copied the page and put a paragraph there. So I'm okay to do that. I don't want to beleaguer this, but I would like permission to amend the agenda based on what was actually requested. And I make that motion.
I would think then we would have to
If we can do
postpone approval of the minutes.
I don't think we legally can we?
We cannot, okay.
Can we just revisit this?
We could, I think Patty understands what he wishes to be included in the minutes, so would it be okay, Mr. Seward, if that motion stands pending maybe Patty's review, just to make sure that it reflects what was
I'd be good
stated?
with that.
No?
No.
I mean, if you want to take a break, I expect tonight might be a long night, and there might be a break to look at the video, but no, you can't delegate to Patty. And this is what the board has to decide, was that said, and should it be?
And it wasn't an action item anyway, it was a discussion item.
It was a discussion
So
item. It was a
we have the
request.
gist of what you wanted already in there, it just not to the detail that you're asking for. It's a discussion item. It's gonna be a discussion item again, it's not an action item. When it gets to an action item,
We'll make sure.
we'll have that type of detail. Is
How
that
does it
fair?
get to an action item?
Hmm?
How does it get to an action item?
We put it on the agenda as an action item. Right now, it was on the item, for
As a-
discussion.
Okay.
It's on your agenda tonight as discussion. It's
So
not
can
an
we
action
make
item.
it, can we somehow request that that becomes an action item for our next meeting then?
You can do that.
Why don't we discuss that while we're doing item 12?
Yes, that's what I said. We would,
Yep.
we would put that on trackers.
Yep.
Okay.
That would end up, the information you want is gonna have to go to an action item, and the board is gonna have to vote on that.
That's fine.
Yeah, so it's not just an open request that you can have that, it's gonna be voted on,
Okay.
okay? So from a approval of the minutes, we have I think she has adjusted what you want in there from a discussion standpoint. You're gonna bring it up again later, so we'll have more information on our
Yep,
discussion.
as a follow-up, it's gonna be more detailed. I'm gonna go back and make sure that as a
We can-
follow-up item, as an action item on the next meeting, that we discuss as an
Right.
action item, getting the information that's more
Okay.
specific that I didn't see with what I was provided. And I don't wanna hold up the meeting, so if I can just withdraw my motion, I guess if we have to go ahead and approve it and just move it to an action item for next meeting. But I want to approve it
We
with,
won't move this to an action item. You'll put in a request for an action item on the next agenda, and it'll be there,
okay,
okay?
I simply don't have enough knowledge of your exact wording from the minutes
okay.
to say, yes, I approve of that word.
That's fine.
However, your first concern, if I understood it, if we just change, Mr. Reiber would like to know the details of all, instead of saying of them, because it refers back to the 5.
Right.
Say all existing cases, or all pending litigation. 'cause that
Actually, what
was
he
your
wants is he wants the detail of
Everything.
all
Pending.
legal fees.
Yeah, not just all of them, because you see where the confusion is. It
Yeah,
was
I
just
do.
those 5.
I do.
Okay,
Okay, I am comfortable with that. I
Okay.
remember that.
okay. So Patty, could you, so instead of saying all of them,
All legal,
yeah, all, it was all, so each law firm provides,
I would just say pending litigation, and then we'll clarify. it
and the
more later.
costs.
Want that whole other sentence taken out that you said before?
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine, because we're gonna make it an action item in a future meeting.
yeah.
Thank you.
Just let me know when you have what you need, Pat.
She's good.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
With that,
the
I would
amended.
ask for a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I think Bill did that, right? Did you make the motion to approve as amended?
Yes, I did, but hold on just a second here, sorry, page 19. I did also on page 19 of your packet, on the third paragraph, about halfway through, it says she recommends the board review them and then provide to her or supervisor Spire the top ones that they would like to interview. And I would like to request that the top ones be changed to the top 5. Because that's what was discussed.
I don't believe it was.
We didn't have a hard
Actually, it was the
Top three.
top 1 or 2,
we did.
maybe 3 at the hour 31:47 minute mark.
No. Our 1 hour, 32 minutes, 26 seconds. We were deciding not on how many submissions or nominations. We were deciding on how many actual candidates were invited back here, the top vote getters.
Right.
And the number 5 was out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Top 5.
I just want to make sure that that is reflected in the meeting minutes, because when we go forward in here and we're looking at the voting process later on in the meeting, it says 7, and that is not the
That's because
process.
it ties.
Okay, well, I just
How do you,
want, so
how do you
let's just
break a
leave it
tie,
at top
Bill?
5.
How do you break a tie?
All I'm asking is that the meeting minutes be updated to, does everybody agree 5 was the number we agreed upon?
Kelly did say if it ends up 6, that's okay. If it's that close and you can't decide.
But, okay, I would like to, okay, it never got to 7, and if it was a result of a tie, that's one thing, but I didn't get my question answered when I asked what happens with the tie that I did send out, so. Number 5 was the last number that everybody shook their head on, so I would like that to be the top ones changed to the top 5.
That's fine.
With Manager Van Marter saying if there's 6, there's 6.
Well, I think
She did say that.
you were actually said if there was an outstanding candidate, maybe 6.
Yep.
What's that, Penny?
Oh, I just put top 5.
Yep.
Okay.
I think you wanted to add that, or that then the supervisor suggested that if there's 6, there's 6, something.
If there was an outstanding Superman or Superwoman candidate.
If you couldn't decide, if it was that close and the votes were that tight, which they ended up being.
Thank you, Patty. That's it.
Okay. With that, we'll try this again. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
I'll second it.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask all those in favor to signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, action item number 3 is the public hearing on the proposed Round Lake Aquatic Weed Control Special Assessment Roll. Portion A would be a call to the property owners. So any property owner in Round Lake that would be subject to this special assessment district, we would give you the floor to speak on the subject as of 7:02 p.m.
We already had one.
Yeah, Frank doesn't have to requote.
We do have some people that have signed up too.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
I'll kick it off. My name is Martin Samajian. I live at 4449 Filbert Drive. I have the pleasure of, following Frank and kicking off the Round Lake homeowner request for the Special Assessment District to help us control excessive weed growth on our lake, which is kind of funny seeing as it's about 5 degrees outside that we're talking about weed control on the lakes right now. But as you heard last week, we had about 75% of the Round Lake property owners have agreed to have a SAD to control our weeds. We believe that there are additional property owners that are for the SAD, but they were not able to get their petitions in time or did not submit their petitions. So you can see we have a large amount of community support for the SAD district for us. This level of support was due to the hard work of several property owners, but we'd like to specifically call out Mr. Larry Bacon and Mrs. Doreen Walsh for their hard work in making this effective. They made sure that we not only had several meetings to get all the input from property owners, but all the property owners' concerns were looked at and involved as we went through and assessed our different solutions. We had a number of different meetings throughout the, late summer and fall. We started the process in July and we finished up in October with a major public meeting for our group. We called in several different weed control companies. We looked at not only chemical weed control, but also mechanical harvesting. And as a group, we feel that chemical weed control is best for us. Most importantly, we feel that it's best to have a professional company do this for us. We have an alternative option, obviously, as all independent homeowners. We can all get a permit from Eagle. We can all apply chemicals on our own to the lake in front of our homes. However, we feel that that is not a good solution because you could have either excessive herbicide applied or not enough herbicide applied, and it would be done randomly throughout the year. By having a professional company manage it for us, we know we'll get the proper amount of herbicide applied. We know they're only going to apply it a couple times, so it's going to maximize use of the property for us. Overall, we'd like to thank you for the opportunity to have the Special Assessment District looked at, and we're looking for your support in making this happen for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Doreen Walsh.
Good evening. I'm here again. I just want to take 1 second before I start
Could all the property owners on Round Lake that are here tonight just stand up and show your presence to the board, please? Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you all for coming.
Did I say good evening?
You did.
You did.
Okay. On behalf of myself and Larry Bacon and all of the property owners, we want to express our sincere gratitude for the incredible dedication, professionalism, and support you consistently provided us through the pursuit to form a special assessment district fund for our lake weed treatment plan. We especially want to acknowledge the outstanding assistance we received during the past 6 months from the township. You've helped us by educating us through the process, navigating us through the legal requirements, providing us with the resources needed to ensure we included all 88 parcels of property owners in the decision-making process leading up to 75% of the property owners requesting the township to approve our SAD to address the invasive weeds overtaking our lake. Your willingness to go above and beyond, patiently explaining procedures, finding quick solutions, coordinating resources, and working together with us as a team made all the difference and truly demonstrated your commitment to serving all the Round Lake homeowners. As the Round Lake representative, working directly with the township through the SAD process, I want to personally thank Kelly Van Marter and Laura Gimbel for their support, always available to take my calls, taking the time out of their busy day to meet with me when I unexpectedly showed up at the township hall, and assisting me through the petition process to ensure all petitions were received, validated, and certified. Your hard work ensures our township runs smoothly, and we deeply appreciate the countless hours and dedication you pour into your roles, often behind the scenes. Thank you for being such a vital part in our success in ensuring all property owners were given the opportunity to be included in the decision-making process and guiding us through the SAD process. Your commitment to excellence and service is truly valued, and all of us appreciate you. With deepest gratitude, thank you, Kelly, and your staff for all their help.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
James Fegard?
I'll yield to the next speaker.
Oh, okay. That was all the pre-signed. Do we have another speaker that would like to speak on behalf of the Round Lake SAD?
Good evening. My name is James Shear. I work for PLM Lake and Land Management. We do a handful of lakes in your guys' township here, and I personally want to thank Doreen and Larry as well. I've been doing this 15 years, and I've never seen a SAD with that level of turnout. 75% is phenomenal. I really look forward to helping them in the coming years and really helping turn around the conditions on Round Lake so we can, not necessarily save the lake, but restore the property values and really help recover what's been lost in the last 15 years here. So I appreciate the board and Kelly as well for taking the time to help Doreen and Larry and get this off the ground. So thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else wish to speak on the Round Lake SAD? Seeing none, I will close the call to the property owners at 7:09 p.m. And I would open up a call to the general public. If there's anyone from the general public that would like to comment on the Round Lake special assessment for aquatic weed control. Okay, seeing none, I will close that portion of the hearing at 7:10. That concludes the hearing portion. Action item number 4 is a request.
Okay.
Is a
That's correct.
request for approval
Yep.
of resolution number 3, approving the project cost estimates, special assessment district, and causing the special assessment roll to be prepared for the Round Lake Aquatic Weed Control Special Assessment Project, Summer Tax 2026.
Yeah, if I can just add, I've said it before, I've gone through the process of SADs a lot, and I've never seen 75% support before. So fantastic, you guys did a great job. For the record, though, I think we need to enter in, we did get one objection, and it was an email received from Beth and Craig Hagan, and we just need the objection on the record. But that was the only one we received, and I received many others in support.
Okay. So noted. I would entertain a motion on action item number 4.
I will move to approve item number 4, resolution number 3, approving the project cost estimate, special assessment district, and causing the special assessment roll to be prepared for the Round Lake Aquatic Weed Control Special Assessment Project, Summer Tax 2026.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have support. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I would ask Clerk Susie for a roll call, please.
Reiber.
Yes.
Hunt.
Yes.
Hovarder.
Yes.
Susie, yes. Walker.
Yes.
Spire.
Yes. Okay, resolution number 3 has passed. Action item number 5 is a request for approval of resolution number 4. Resolution acknowledging the filing of the special assessment roll, scheduling of the second hearing for January 5th, 2026, and directing the issuance of statutory notices for the Round Lake Aquatic Weed Control Special Assessment Project, Summer Tax 2026.
I would move to approve resolution 4 as submitted.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? Again, seeing none, I would ask Trustee Susie for a roll call, please.
Hunt.
Yes.
Susie, yes. Hovarder.
Yes.
Walker.
Yes.
Reiber.
Yes.
Spire.
Yes. Okay, resolution number 4 has passed.
See you next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on, action item number 6 is the consideration of a request for approval of the trustee candidate interview process.
You taking this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if everyone's had a chance to review this, I'm pretty sure. I will entertain motions at this time.
I would like to make a motion. After reviewing this process, in the spirit of transparency, I would like to make a motion to amend this process. And the amendment would be, I would like to make a motion that each person that submitted numbers, which turned out to be names, for nomination indicate which numbers, which people that they nominated, that actually got those people to be invited here to tonight's meeting. I mean, it was kind of a vote, and
It
we
was an
did take.
evaluation based upon only their answers, no personal favoritism,
Right.
nothing of the sort.
Right, but my motion was just to go down the line, and for each of us, that whether we submitted 2 or 3, each of the members of the board to indicate which numbers that they actually submitted for consideration.
Okay. Other than that, you have the,
No, a
because you're
couple,
approving the process.
well, hang on just a second here. I also want to make sure that in here, there is noted that our process, as we agreed to it, did in no way restrict any person from reaching out to any of the references. There is no place you will find that that was our process. It was not restricted.
Joe?
Well, the Open Meetings Act says all interviews of appointees need to be in the open meeting, and my opinion would be that that has to be done here, not privately on a one-on-one. As to references, I don't recall that there was anything that permitted.
But there was nothing that prevented it.
Permitted reaching out to the candidates, so I don't know that that was ever a discussion or something in the contemplation of this board.
Then why were the references on there if you couldn't reach out to them?
Pardon me?
What were the references for if we weren't to contact them? I mean, I didn't, but why were they on there at all?
You know, I have my thoughts of what I heard the board say. I'm not so sure that, you know, my thoughts are consistent with everyone else. But what my thoughts were is if it came close to maybe one or, you know, two people, you might want to check the references and maybe have a special meeting. But that's just my thoughts, and my thoughts don't matter because it's really the collective, you know, it's the thoughts of the board.
The issue with contacting and keeping the spirit of the Open Meetings Act is that if you're individually contacting someone's references, you have additional knowledge that the rest of the board does not have, and that we should all have that information. That is why it's done in a public forum as opposed to individually calling people. Is that correct, Joe?
And that is the purpose. I mean, right off the bat, the Open Meeting Act talks about how, you know, the purpose is for transparency. The public gets to hear all of that. And that's why when you get to, you know, the interview process, all interviews have to be in an open meeting.
Well, that, first of all, Candy made a very good point. We asked each of the people that filled out a questionnaire towards the bottom to provide references. My history, remember, I have been laid off. I've had my companies bought and sold. I've had to put together lots of resumes in my life, and they all included either references or references available upon request. And when they asked me, and when I provided those references, I knew exactly what the purpose was for providing those references, is in case after the interview process, in our case, reading a questionnaire, that's all we had to go with. If there was additional questions or supplemental information, hey, you got a buddy that's gonna speak very highly of you, of course, right? So that I can call and maybe make sure that I understood or know a little bit more about you. That, in my opinion, is why we asked for references. There is no other reason to ask somebody for references if you then turn around and say it's a violation, finable for up to $500 if you call these people. I'm frustrated because I have been, and not only that, we had 7 people, which I don't agree with. That was not our regular process that we agreed to. But one of those people felt so strongly against being contacted, correct me if I'm wrong, that they dropped out of the race, I'll put it that way. They withdrew their name because they thought it was inappropriate for me to contact their references. Yes.
They weren't comfortable with your questions to the, they didn't necessarily question your contacting, although given that it was there wasn't an identification of who you were calling about, it's a little interesting how you knew to ask, but.
How I knew to ask what? I asked very...
Anything.
Did they know who number 11 was?
I would just say, hello, my name is Bill Reiber, I'm a trustee. There is somebody that's put their name in the hat for a candidate to fill a vacant trustee seat. They filled out a questionnaire. would you mind if I went through some of the information on the questionnaire? And I told him, I understood you may not answer, you know, if I were to ask them what's their favorite topping on chocolate cake, you don't know that. I get that. Move along. Okay? So, you know, it really upsets me that, I mean, how hamstringed we were, and to consider me contacting somebody's references a violation of the Open Meetings Act. It's me talking to somebody that they wanted me to talk to, or one of us to talk to.
Well, so when you submit your application, so say 100 applicants submit for a job opening, are the references of all 100 people called?
If the HR person doesn't have time to, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get with the hiring manager, right, just like we did, and say, I don't have time for 100. Let's pick the top 10. And you do a good job, Mr. HR or Miss HR person. Call these people, not all 100. I'm gonna tell you my top
In
choices.
essence, that's the exact process we followed. We narrowed the list down.
No, we didn't contact anybody. I did.
No.
I did.
Well, I do agree that you did contact people.
Okay.
I don't feel that our attorney has given you incorrect information as to whether or not that was proper.
It was proper.
But the concept
Can we read this
was-
question, please, to the applicants that are here at some point? It was proper to do that. That's why we asked them for references, so that we could contact. That's the only reason we asked them for if they didn't want to provide the references for whatever reason, they could have left it blank. But they chose to open themselves up to, hey, this is my next door neighbor, this is a business owner, this is my partner, this is my best friend. This,
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and accuse
Well,
Joe of telling.
there was
me
nothing
with
in our
wrong
process to
information.
prohibit us. Joe says there was nothing in the process to allow us to. In America, if nothing prohibits us, we can do it. I don't have to ask permission.
We have to follow the Open Meetings Act. So.
We do have to obey the law.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity.
This little red
so
book on
who did you-
94. Has all
Yeah,
the rules.
who did you contact, which references did you contact for candidate number 10?
Pardon me?
Candidate number 10, which references did you contact?
For candidate number 10?
Yeah.
Which one was that? Was that, who was number 10? That was,
Candidate number 10 didn't provide references.
pardon me?
There were no references provided by candidate number 10?
Number 10 is a member of the coalition. Yeah, that's on his questionnaire. And and that right there was part of when in my decision-making, because guess what? The coalition is a group of people that believe in the same thing I did, the same thing that we campaigned on, and in a great part, had their support for us behind us to get some of us elected into that office.
Okay.
Okay, so for me, that was a good reason to nominate this person to be here, because that person shares the views of this board right here.
Okay.
And I said very clearly, not everybody provided references.
That was the only one that I noticed that didn't provide.
Okay, well, that's the reason then I had to go based on the questionnaire.
Supervisor,
I think we've heard your
I
comments.
heard Mr. River say that, you know, he did some investigation, and he based his decision upon that. That raises red flags for me for the violation of the Open Meetings Act. Any decisions should be made here. I mean, so you can get information, you can certainly, you know, have a thought, but the Open Meetings Act does talk about making the decisions here at this board in an open meeting.
By a public body. A public body is of multiple people, not one-on-one, Joe.
You're part
We
of
had
a
this-
public body.
But I am not a public body, and I think I put the definition of what a public body was out in an email to people. Okay, so I'm just saying, the process, how many people, I mean, I think we even had one person here at the table submit 4 names. Was it on an email? It wasn't me, right? But I will tell you, my names were eliminated, they weren't permitted, because I wasn't following a process. And the process that is out there seems to be convenient to mention sometimes, but inconvenient to mention other times. And the fact that I submitted my choices prior to the public board packet coming out, it would have taken 30 seconds to put mine on there. 30 seconds.
Your
yours are
candidates
included.
were included.
You and I had correspondence, and I indicated to you that even though it was past the deadline, it was important that your candidates be
Did every
included.
person that,
Your
every
stuff was
person,
past the deadline?
no, did every candidate, that everybody in here get included?
No.
Okay.
Was your stuff past the deadline?
Were we supposed to be doing 5 and 7 and
I asked you a
then,
question.
who are you, my judge, jury, and executioner?
I'm your peer,
You are my peer. And I said.
and I asked you a question.
Okay, I will
Did you submit your stuff
I
by-
will
by
re-answer
Monday
my
as-
same
as we
question.
agreed?
I said, no, I submitted mine late, but it was well within
When
time
did
to
you
be
submit
included.
yours?
The day before the packet came out.
Wednesday afternoon.
So 2 days late, you submitted your candidates.
That is correct.
And we did allow them.
They are,
We're not here to eliminate people on a technicality. We want as many people as this board wants to talk to fill this important position. We want to talk to them. So both of your, or all 3 of your candidate nominations were considered. As far as I understand, 2 of the people you nominated actually are here this evening.
So can we then, I think I made a motion then to request that all of the people that did cast votes, is what I'll say, reveal who their choices were.
You made a motion, you're right.
Yep.
You made a motion.
Is there any second for that emotion? Motion.
I will support for discussion.
Support for discussion. Meaning what?
You second the motion
Meaning,
for, we're
your
going to
motion is
discussion.
to approve the trustee interview process, but we haven't talked about the whole thing yet. So if I can add my comments regarding this, then we can choose to amend your motion or not. Is that okay?
Yeah, you're free to speak, go ahead.
All right. In looking over this process, I think the application turned out very well, that all of the candidates got. And for myself, the questions that were asked in the application gave me a good sense of who I felt was the best or the worst for the township, whatever the case will be. And I think asking every candidate 8 to 10 minutes of questions tonight is kind of redundant, because a lot of the questions have already been answered. I mean, not to say none of the trustees can ask questions if they have them, but for myself, the application covered it quite well.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
That's why we all had an opportunity to submit questions ahead of time.
Right, and I did not. Now, the only thing, I know we all got a copy of Mr. Reiber's request for his question to all of the candidates. I'm a little concerned with his question because, to me, a question should be to get an answer of whether I think they are qualified for the trustee position, and this is not regarding their qualifications at all.
Would you mind if I read my question out loud so that it could be part of the record?
Absolutely.
So Robin's right. We were asked that if anybody on the board had a specific question to just ask as a generic question to the candidates, please submit them to the board. So this is what I submitted. You were asked to provide reference contacts as part of the questionnaire. In doing so, was it your intention to make available additional information to board members, should they decide to contact them, related to your qualifications that are not on the questionnaire and that might be helpful in their decision-making process? So I was just asking them, was it your intention, by providing the references, to help somebody that's making a decision make that decision? I already spoke. I think, in my opinion, references, that's the purpose of providing references. So anybody out there, I was just asking the candidates in general, was that their intent? Was to provide additional information upon request if somebody was looking for additional support in decision-making?
I would say for all but the person who didn't provide the references, that answer will be yes.
Okay.
So I don't know that that answer while it takes up time, provides us with anything that helps us make the decision who will be the best candidate to fill the open seat.
I just wanted to make sure that I was not barking up the wrong tree, that it was something that was unheard of, some new pioneering method to make decisions on who to hire is contacting references, because that really bothers me.
Bill, the only,
Technically, once it comes down to the final is all that we're saying. References are usually contacted among the final candidates.
the only thing that's barking up the wrong tree is that unlike the private life, public life, you cannot do that one-on-one. It's a collective body that's making those decisions. The collective body is making the decision tonight. The collective body is the one evaluating tonight, and the collective body doesn't have all the information that you may already have based on you contacting references. That's the only main thing about it. In a private sector, you're absolutely right. You would contact references. You would go through that, the 10 people that you were considering or whatever, and individually, because you weren't having a collective body that was making that decision. You made your recommendation of who you wanted to be on the slate to interview tonight, and they're on that slate. We've already done the process of what you're talking about. So I think it's redundant to ask them this question at this point. And to Robin's point, I don't think we need to go through and ask every candidate the same questions and so forth. I think we've already answered most of the questions in the questionnaire. And if we have a specific question for that particular candidate at the time that after they've given their background, I think it's appropriate to ask at that point. But we're not gonna go, everyone's not gonna be asking questions.
Okay, but collectively, we agreed to the questionnaire?
I did.
Yeah, we got that, and we got that.
So I'm just saying, I guess I'm just thinking on everybody else's head. What clicked in your mind that I can't call these references because I'm gonna violate an Open Meetings Act? Are you guys really that versed in the Open Meetings Act?
Yep.
I'm not.
I personally wouldn't have ever called references not knowing the person's name.
I knew their references' names.
Yeah, but that makes it even kind of weird when you call and say, someone sent me your name as a reference. Who was it? Well, I don't know exactly. That would be really weird even trying to think of that.
Maybe that's why the person thought that my questions were out of line.
Maybe.
And that should have been the clue right there.
Well,
So-
what's done,
If I can,
They
just to
don't think-
add, because trustee Hovarder did ask, like, why were they included? And that was sort of my choice not to redact the references. And to me, I wanted the board to be able to see that they provided references. So they were included in there so that you could see that they gave people. But the thought process when we left here Monday night was read the applications and submit your top choices. I felt like it was pretty clear direction, and at least personally, I didn't feel like anyone was going to be calling references. It was strictly review what we've handed out and give us your top choices. And then having the references would allow us to contact them if it was something the board, as part of tonight's meeting, decided they wanted to follow up and do, that would sort of be the next step. So just to explain why I included that on there, I thought it was important that you saw whether or not they provided it, but not necessarily thought that anyone would contact them.
If I may, all of us were provided with this book called Authorities and Responsibilities of Michigan Townships. And on page 94, like, this is kind of our rule book, right? It's a guide for us because we're new at this, but we have the best intent to follow the law. And it says it here, and I'm speaking this to tell everybody how above and beyond we're already going with this process. It says the township board may appoint anyone who is eligible to hold elective township office. The board is not required to advertise the vacancy or solicit resumes, but doing so may attract a larger or more capable pool of candidates. The board is not required to consider the runner-up from the last election or any other previous candidate or applicant. If the board member wishes to conduct interviews, they must be done in open session at a public board meeting. So that's where this is coming from. That's all.
Agreed. Thank you, Todd.
well, we have a motion of support.
We do have a motion and support. Any other modifications to the process? We are voting to approve this process as written with trustee
I think I would like to strike the question should be consistent across all candidates, and each trustee should use the same personal question with each applicant.
Where are you reading that?
Right here.
Under board question round number 3,
Bullet point number 3.
yeah, board question round, 8 to 10 minutes, number 3. Again, I don't want us all to be asking the same question, people. I think that we've already got most of the information we need. If any one or two individuals on the board has a particular question they want to ask that particular candidate, do it. But I don't think we need to go through this whole process with all of them. I think we already have the information that we need for these people, and this is dragging them through much more than we need to for this situation.
I agree.
I'm comfortable
I am comfortable
with the
with that.
amended motion if the
Modification.
maker is.
And you're adding that into the motion?
I'm striking that from the.
Bullet point number 3 is stricken
Okay, yeah,
from
that-
the,
yeah.
under
okay with
number
It
3.
seems reasonable. Let me just make that, share that again. Questions should be consistent
Trustee
across
Ryber.
candidates, or each trustee should use the same personal questions. However, if I have a different question, unique question for a unique candidate,
Yeah,
You can ask.
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Did you follow that, Patty?
I'll give it to you.
Bullet number 3.
We're going to strike it.
The whole thing, including
Yes.
the 4 bullets.
No, the third bullet on number 3.
Question should be
Question should be consistent. The
Remove
whole
that.
sentence.
Strike that.
Stricken. This motion does include trustee Ryber's request to include who each person nominated. Now, do you want that
That's
by
fine.
number or by name?
either one, because I think we know the names and the numbers at this point that are associated, so either one.
Okay.
I don't know if that's, what is the point of asking, for example, Bill, asking me who I nominated in front of all these folks?
If it's, well, if it's, for example, if you nominated somebody that didn't make the cut.
Right.
That's kind of, I mean, the reason that I think that that's important is because the questionnaire was posted out online. The results of the questionnaire were posted out online. The names of the 7, we've got them here, and their questions and their responses were posted. So if you were, let's just say I nominated number 3, let's just say, the public and the other members of the board could see he nominated number 3 based on responses to the questionnaire. He saw something in those questionnaires that I really liked. I aligned myself with that person, so I put their name in the hat. So I think the reason that I'm doing that is to allow each of the other board members, the other candidates, members of the public, to just know where your head was, who really struck a chord with you.
Okay, I don't know.
Fine with that. Are we gonna do that before the interviews or after?
Let's do it now.
Well,
Right now?
Let's do it after the interviews,
Why?
Doesn't matter to
so
me.
they're less biased, maybe?
I think so.
What do you think, Candy? Rick? Robin?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm more than happy to.
I don't know why we need to go through the process personally, but I don't have a strong
either,
opinion, a strong opinion about it. I don't know, I don't understand the point, you know.
I explained my point. It was so that the rest of us, the candidates and the people in the public understand this person resonated with me. They have the responses to
So
the
am I
question.
supposed to give the background of why it did, or just who?
Just the numbers, the background. I'm assuming that the background is the responses, since nobody else called references, and the only information you had was what's on the questionnaire.
Right.
Which is a lot of information.
Okay, but I mean, that was enough for us to make a decision. Right.
On finalists.
Maybe during the post-interview board process, after all interviews are complete, the board holds an open discussion about the interviews. I think it would be appropriate there for maybe folks to indicate who they originally chose and maybe how the results of tonight's meeting
I like that.
changed. or
Which is
didn't
basically
change
what
their
you
view.
had said.
I like
You
that.
wanna do that after we vote?
No,
So
no,
you're
after,
amending this
after the,
process.
after the process.
So right now, the motion on the table is to amend the process for the candidates. There is a post-interview process within here on the second page. Post-interview board process number 1.
What page
Open
is that on, Kelly?
discussion. Page 48 of your packet.
Post-interview board process.
I see that.
So maybe amend number
Open
1.
discussion.
If we declare who we've nominated before we vote for our final selection, then we are potentially biasing our vote.
No, I think we're sharing the information with everyone and how our,
Who resonated.
Right.
Who we thought would be someone to interview.
Before the vote.
I like to add it under post-interview board process number 1 during open discussion. I think is a perfect time to do it.
Okay,
And to clarify, it would only be for those folks that are here this evening.
correct.
Well, I assume, I don't know, we haven't taken a roll call, but I mean, it was, yes, I get where you're, yes.
So there's no reason to talk
I
about
get what you-
someone
yes,
that
yes,
isn't here.
correct. Took a second, but yes, correct.
Okay, and just to clarify, since it's candidates that are here this evening, are we going to include the candidate who dropped out, or are we not going to include the candidate who dropped out?
They don't want to be, oh, you mean the people
In
that
terms
picked
of the
them?
nomination?
No.
It was,
I mean,
it
we
was
did-
a choice, though.
But
I
if
mean,
they're not
I
here,
don't, it doesn't matter to me.
I would include it, but
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, I'm fine, yeah.
if someone chose it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have support.
Okay.
Had discussion.
Yeah, I think we've had quite a bit of discussion. I think we can just do that
Well,
with a simple aye,
one
nay.
last question. Sorry, one last question.
Okay.
Because I was looking at post-interview board process. Number 3, motion to appoint. Any trustee can make a motion to appoint any candidate of their choosing when the discussion has ended. All right? So here is my concern with that, and I'm open to the board's suggestion to remedy that, because when we appointed a clerk, there was an appointment made, there was a vote, and this, any trustee can make any trustee can make a motion. And so I want to make sure that Robin's treasurer, Rick's clerk, supervisor doesn't make motions, right? So the trustees here is Candy, myself, and Todd.
technically, when you're at this table, you're all trustees.
We are all trustees. We are all equal. I happen to chair the meeting, but that doesn't make my vote worth any more than
This is
anyone
the
else's.
board of trustees. It consists of the
It's all of
treasurer,
us.
the supervisor,
You
and the
can't
clerk, but
eliminate-
you are each a trustee.
Just because of the title.
Okay, I wanted to be clear that, because
I understand.
I view you guys as your genoa.org email role, right? Clerk, supervisor, well, Robin, you're Robin.
Robin. So,
But here, we are all equal.
yes,
Make sure that is known.
yes.
And
And just for clarification here, anytime a motion is made and supported, there is discussion. It wasn't shut off. Everybody keeps saying that there was no way anybody could discuss my last motion. Just like then, tonight, if someone makes a motion and someone wants to support it, we can still have discussion prior to voting.
And what would that discussion yield?
Whatever it yields.
If you have an objection to a motion I made, then you can have that discussion. And if you convince all the others that they agree
Just-
with
just
your
the flow
objection
of the
to my
process.
motion, they're not gonna vote for my motion.
I say I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion, that's on every
Yeah.
single motion. And at that point, if somebody wants to make further discussion, they can. Typically, it doesn't happen, but
Right.
That is the last, speak now or forever hold your peace, as they say in a certain ceremony.
But what that does do is preclude any other motions for appointment.
Once a motion is live on the
Yes.
floor, that motion
Yes.
has to be acted on, yes.
Doesn't mean it's always gonna get
To
approved.
move on to a second motion, you have to turn down the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it worked last time.
But there was ample opportunity for anybody to dispute my motion and convince the others that I did it wrong, is my point. And I've heard it way too many times now, that I did it wrong.
Okay. Do we want to announce when discussion is over?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll add that in, that prior to the post-interview process, we will announce that discussion, open discussion and interview is closed.
Okay?
Does that sound like proper wording? And I will then entertain motions.
To approve the
For
interview
consideration.
process? You already have that, right? You have a motion to approve the candidate interview process in a second.
I do, yeah. This was the final
We're now for a vote.
discussion, so we have this, just an example of how it works. We just had discussion after the second motion.
I really feel strongly that we should declare our candidates, our submissions, after we do our final vote. Because I don't see how it is relevant at all to our vote that we know who submitted whom ahead of time.
And I do agree with that take.
We'll still make our submissions public, but I don't think that needs to be done prior to our vote.
Are you saying that because in light of someone saying, well, I don't like your candidate, so I'm gonna vote against it regardless of whether they're qualified? Is that
That's a
kind of,
possibility.
Yeah, okay.
Someone could do that.
yeah,
Not saying I would do that or you would do that, but someone could do that.
Yeah.
So I think to remove that doubt, but to still make our.
I think that it need to
Stuff
be,
public, that
we
we
need
do
to
it
be voting
afterward.
on the merit of the individual, not who submitted.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
That makes sense?
Yeah, if you're worried about that tainting the opinion
I
of
think
other
it's, I
people
think it's a
up here.
valid reason.
Yep.
We wanna answer
Somebody
based
could
on
say,
their
oh,
responses to the
they
interview
said they
process."
did this before they voted, so that's why they voted that way.
Okay, I can see the validity.
Okay.
Okay.
And I guess one final thing, we didn't actually lay it out here. Would you prefer us to go in the order that their numbers were, that they submitted their applications?
We could just go right down Battleship
Completely
Row if we
random.
want
Well, I
to.
mean,
No, no.
candidates. So
The candidate's
candidate-
coming up.
Candidate number 2 goes first, candidate number 4 goes second. Is that how you?
For the interview process?
Yeah.
I mean, just the way that you have it here in the packet would be all right. I mean, just
Well,
go right
we
down.
didn't
the-
actually specify what order the candidates will be
Called up.
interviewed in.
Oh, I don't have a problem, I don't care which order they're interviewed in, right? But, I mean, I saw you laid them out numerically, you know, just
Just
numerically.
making sure.
All right, so the post-interview process is, we're not gonna be talking about who we submitted till after the appointment.
Correct.
So it is public, but it's after the appointment.
Yes,
Okay.
that's the agreed upon motion. Joe, do you have
Well,
a?
I think Mr. River has to, because it was his motion, he'd have.
Well, that's
to-
what I was asking. That's why I was
he'd have to
asking
agree to
questions.
that.
To do it after the vote,
After the
after
vote.
the appointment, then
Yeah.
everybody has to say, I voted, or nominated.
Yeah, this is a- yeah.
I think it's, my point, the reason I said that was just to say why it resonated. I guess I would be okay either way.
Well, we're saying after. Are you okay with that?
It's
I'm
your-
okay with
it's
that as
your
the
motion,
support.
So you have to say either yes or no.
I would actually, for Patty's sake, I would like you to just restate the final motion, because we've changed it quite a bit here at
Well,
discussion.
everybody had a piece of the pie, so, right?
did.
On this, Rick had an exclusion of a .3 right here. So this is my motion then, Patty? Sorry.
Or let's see what Patty's got.
Let's-
Yeah, let's
Why don't
see
we do
Patty's
that?
got- Okay.
Yes, please.
Moved by Reimer, supported by Hunt, to amend the process to include that each board member shall state which candidates they nominated, and strike item number 3, the third bullet point that states questions should be consistent across candidates, where each trustee should use the same personal question with each applicant. Did not include that last part, but I can.
So the last part I would add to the beginning of that motion
Right.
and say, to be
Disclose at the end
disclosed
of, after the vote.
That work?
I'm thinking about that.
And we're simply stating the people who are here that we nominated, correct? 'Cause I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember which number I nominated that didn't make it to the final.
Yeah, I mean, the people that are here.
Yeah, I nominated a gentleman that did not make it, so.
So I nominated
I'd love to tell
somebody
you I
that did-
remember that number, but I do not.
I did too.
Okay, so just the
did
people that were
3.
here.
The people that we're gonna be voting on, right?
Yeah,
Because
okay, yep.
the
I just
people
wanna
that
be
we're gonna
clear.
voting.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm okay to do that, yes, before, I'm sorry.
After the vote.
If we did it before the vote. Yeah,
No.
yeah,
After the
after the vote.
Okay. Okay then. Do you have that?
I do,
Patty?
thank you.
Okay, I think we're all clear. We have the motion, we have the support, we've had discussion. I would ask that all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Seeing none, the motion carried, and
We have
the
a
interview
process.
Thank you all for being so patient.
Okay, action item number 7.
Do they still want to be here?
The open interview,
Yeah.
open interviews for the trustee candidates. I guess, I should ask real quick. Does anyone need a break before we start the interview process? Because I'd rather not stop in the middle of it.
I'm good.
Is everybody okay?
Let's go.
Okay?
Okay.
I just wanted to check. Okay. So first of all, we had a pool of 12 excellent applicants. I just recently read the city of Chelsea actually had an opening on their board and they got 2. So the fact that we had 12 very well qualified candidates apply is a testament to the quality of the citizens of Genoa. And we thank you. We thank everybody who applied. We do. Everybody was considered. Which brings us to the 6 finalists that we will interview here tonight. Up first will be candidate number 2, Michael Haginian. Mike, if you'd like to step up to the podium, or if you'd feel better seated, either way, whichever the applicant is more comfortable with. Okay, just make sure to pull the mic kind of close to you, so everybody can hear. Please tell us a little about yourself and why you are interested in serving as township trustee.
Very good, thank you, and I'm glad to be here. So I recently retired as president of a company called Magnetic Products Incorporated, and I moved here 7.5 years ago, and we really like the community. We live in North Shore, and we love being between 2 cities, and we just like it. So tell me a little bit about the company and then what my interest is. Magnetic Products is located in Highland, Michigan. It's a 50-person company, and it's a ideal view of what a family-owned company ought to be. It's a manufacturing firm, and the main product is called magnetic separator. And you might find this interesting. This product is used by all the food companies, and it's the reason when you eat your breakfast cereal in the morning, you get your cup of coffee at Starbucks, there's no metal in it. A magnetic separator is used by all of the food companies to take the metal out, because whenever you move it through all the processes, pieces of metal fall off. And so we are used literally by all of the top food companies and food processors in the country. So the saying is, nobody likes to eat metal, right? So when you have your breakfast cereal in the morning, you can thank us. And it's a nice little company in Michigan. So the owner and founder and I had been friends for a number of years. And at a certain point, he said, hey, Mike, would you be interested in joining my company as president? rev it up, we'd like to get more going, and could you help prepare my young son to take over one day, should he become qualified? And it worked out, so I came. And I'm very, very pleased that I did. He decided to retire up in the Traverse City area, and I worked on both things. The company is in wonderful shape, but it has had a wonderful retirement, and the son successfully is taking over the business. So it's a wonderful story. It doesn't go off to somebody else. We get a nice family-owned company, stays in Michigan. So that's kind of why I came here. I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I have a fairly unusual background and life experiences. I have a very humble beginnings, as many people do. I was the first person to graduate college in my family, ever even go to college. I had an undergraduate degree in electrical engineering, Marquette University, and then got my MBA from the University of Wisconsin in Milwaukee. I moved through engineering, operations, marketing and sales, general manager, and then I graduated to actually for leadership positions. So that's kind of my work history. It's sort of going through all the ranks, earned it all. And what I found is, I learned that I had a talent for helping rudderless businesses get some direction. And I took on a lot of challenging leaders positions for struggling businesses, and through that process, I moved to 7 states. And I still can't believe we moved that much, and I really took these different companies and did something with them. But I lived in a lot of fine communities, and I want to mention their names because these are usually thought of as communities that are doing good things. Naperville, Illinois, Upland, California, Brookfield, Wisconsin, Lincoln, Rhode Island, Westchester, Ohio, and Marlborough, Massachusetts. All fine communities. So I learned a lot by living in those states and those different places. So I'm happily married for a long time. I have the same wife. We've got grown children, and I've learned plenty from the mistakes I've made in the past. I don't have to make those mistakes again. As we all go, we can make new ones, right? But it's really been an interesting ride. So I'm working on several meaningful semi-retired activities. And so then that's kind of who I am and how I got here and why I'm interested. Well, Kevin, you put out a request a while back for volunteers for the Citizens Advisory Council. And I participated and I liked it. I was impressed first that there were a lot of good people who really had your hearts in the right place. You really want to do well. And I thought the survey was outstanding because what you're really doing in a business, you try to understand what's your mission, what's your goal, what are you trying to accomplish? And what I saw is, hey, here's a wonderful community that I live in, and you're trying to figure out where are we gonna go? What do people really want? And we've got an odd situation because, we're land stuck between 2 cities. Who are we? What is it we really wanna do? This is not easy. And what I learned, and also went to the seminar for the master planning and the zoning and what that was all about is, these are well thought through processes in place. And the issue here isn't to create new processes, to follow the ones we have and do a good job and get the community to where it would most of the residents would like it to be. So that got my interest, and I've been looking for ways to give back. I've been on a lot of boards in my career. I've been on 13 different boards, and I'm serving on 2 now as a director. That's one of my specialties, and I've always earned a reputation as being a really effective board member. So I'd say to this, I'm not a technical expert on zoning or real estate guru or anything like that. What I am as expert is developing group consensus and making good decisions. I'm a very logical, fact-based person. I'm an engineer at heart, so I tend to be pretty straightforward and look, what are the facts? How does that add up? And that's pretty much my story. That's how I do things.
Okay, excellent. And I will say, Mike is actually one of at least 5, potentially 6 people who are part of my advisory council who did put their name in for consideration.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I would not have thought about it otherwise, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah, I felt that I've received great feedback from this council, and I felt it was important that those people be invited to step up.
Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. I guess at this point, then, I would go ahead and open up the board question round, if anyone has any questions for Mr. Hijinian.
Mike, you had mentioned that you're on 2 boards currently. Which ones are they?
One of the companies is called KI Industries. It's located in Chicago. It's a $100 million company that makes decorative parts for appliance and automotive. And I've been on that board for over 20 years. It's a wonderful company. They won Crane Chicago Best Places to Work for 6 years in a row. Just a super company. And the other one is my former company, Magnetic Products.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I'm still associated with that company in many ways.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Mike? He had a very, very detailed questionnaire. I really liked Inspired to Serve, really kind of stuck out to me. Know how to effectively work on boards, absolutely. And the fact that on my advisory council and attended the planning and zoning for everyone meeting really shows a desire to serve. Balancing short and long-term priorities is the greatest challenge.
It is. That's exactly what you have. In business, it's exactly that. You're running a company, you're responsible. You gotta make the short term, because if you can't do it, somebody will, right? You just gotta be able to do that. That's the ante. But then over in that, if you cut all the long-term things and don't have a future, well, that's useless. You have to simultaneously do both. And the other thing I learned is you gotta run the company, and then you gotta keep capital patient. So you got two jobs. If you somehow think that you just get to do what you want and you don't have to talk to all the stakeholders, that's foolishness. And you really have the same. You have your jobs to run, things to do, but then you've got this 22,000 people or whatever the population is. You've got this huge group of people that you've got to keep informed. So you got a tough job. Yeah, but it's the same. I want to draw an analogy.
You're willing to step into it.
Yeah, it's exactly what you do, right? That's how you do it.
Absolutely. I think it's a great perception of the reality of the position. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any further questions for Mr. Hajim? Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, I would like to welcome Daryl E. Kenny.
What number was he?
Number four.
Number 4.
Oh, number 4. Same offer. You can stand or sit, whatever you're more comfortable.
I'll stand right here.
Excellent.
I don't even know if that works, but.
So please tell us a little about yourself and why you were interested in serving as a township trustee.
Okay, Daryl Kenny. I live at 758 South Hughes. Been there 9 months. Just getting back from 6 years in Florida. While I was in Florida, I was in a condominium project, 434 units. Somebody convinced me I should run for the board. And I did, and I was elected. As soon as I was elected, I was also nominated to be the treasurer. This entity has $4 million in revenue, so it's quite a big operation. One of the things that I experienced being a board member and the treasurer was there was always comments from the owners on things that we were doing wrong. So squeaky wheel, and we always knew that the squeaky wheel was a minority. And then being on a board, you got to deal with the majority. And I couldn't believe, but I was involved in a lot of politics in this community, but it was an interesting process. So back to my career, I spent 49 years in the financial industry, working at banks. I was involved with budgeting, cash flow analysis, financial statement analysis, and working directly with directors on a regular basis to know what goes on, what responsibilities the board has in the banking industry. I also supervise 15 to 20 employees while I'm in this process. As far as my management style, I would say it's pretty easy. I always use the word respect for the employees and or the customers. You have to respect both sides at all times. And in the banking industry, everything is sort of black and white. I always, when we had to make decisions on big loans, it was trying to make an informed decision. Try to make it as black and white as you can. And it was a great experience for me. While part of that career, in 2008, a group of us started a new bank in Ann Arbor. It's called Ann Arbor State Bank. It started in 2008, which was right in the middle of a financial crisis. And everybody says, "What are you doing?" And it turned out to be a great time because our bank grew, was very successful, and we ended up selling it in 2019. But that was a great experience of dealing with directors, shareholders, and making it all come together. So, while, as far as my living in Genoa Township, I lived on Hughes now for 9 months, but I lived at Oak Point for 4 years. So I've lived in Genoa for quite a while. I have really no agenda items for or against the township. I'll be coming in with an open mind and learning what's going on and whatever processes you're working on. I feel my strengths are being able to analyze the facts and work towards a good result. So that was part of my banking career, that we always had to be able to cut through all of the details to get to the bottom line. I live at home with my wife Cindy. We have 4 children, 8 grandchildren, and as far as knowledge of what's going on in the township, I have not been involved in any directly with the township, any projects or anything. But I know that there's a lot of comments going on about residential development, commercial development, public service. One of the things that living in Howell, I feel very safe where we live. So I think the process of having proper police involved in the community is working. And why do I want to become a trustee? I think I could add a lot of value to help in the fiscal responsibility of the entity. I mean, I was working on $40 million loans, and those are pretty big loans, but I mean, I've had a great experience of that, and I just think I could add value to the team. I guess I'm considered a team player. With that, that's who I am.
Okay, thank you very much for that. At this time, I would open the floor to board questions for Mr. Kenny.
You said you lived in Florida for 6 years? Are you regretting that tonight? No? Want to stick around even for the weather, huh?
Florida's hot. Florida has hurricanes.
That is true. That is true.
So, my wife may not agree with me, but I don't mind the cold. I grew up in Michigan. I've been here for my whole life, other than that 6 years in Florida.
Okay. What does the Optimist Club do?
Optimist Club is a group of people that get together. They're like the Kiwanis Rotary. It's very similar. And help in the community, raise funds, donate to charities, whatever we can think of. Right now, the Optimist Club has a euchre nights. They raised $400 or $500 a month. That's donated to different charities. I didn't mention that, but I've been involved with a service club for 49 years. I've been in Rotary, Kiwanis, Optimist. And all that is doing is giving back to the community. I was in Manchester, Ann Arbor, Brighton, and that was be part of a service club it's an honor to be part of it. You get good, you feel good about it, and it helps the community.
Okay.
Optimist Bill is primarily focusing on kids, doing things for to the kids. They sponsor the fishing derby in Brighton every year. They have There's another program they do in the summer with kids. I can't remember the name of it. Daryl, maybe you remember. With the kids program. In fact, Cindy was chair of it. What?
I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, it was another kids program that they brought the kids in during the summer. It's mostly focused on the kids. The 4th of July parade, they're the ones that have all the kids' bikes decorated out there. The charities and their mission primarily focuses on children.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any further questions?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Daryl.
you for your time. And thank you for volunteering to step up. Okay. Next up is candidate number 5, Jeff DeHanens.
I will sit.
Welcome.
Thank you. Hopefully that's close enough and people can hear me. Good? All right. Most of you already know me, Jeff DeHanens, 1981 graduate of Howell High School. My family and I, when my kids were 3 and a half and 2, moved to Crooked Lake and Door Road over on Sharp Drive. I've been there 31 years at this point. Most folks are aware I had been serving the township for nearly 14 years at this point, from the ZBA, where I was the chairperson, to the Planning Commission, and then most recently served as a trustee. I got appointed to finish out Jim Mortenson's term, which was, what an honor. I am proud of my involvement of the last 14 years with the township, from this building, the parks that are here, the storyboard walk, the land that's been acquired for the township and the parks, the fire stations, the water and sewer systems, 3 fires. I'm glad Falkwood Shores is still a golf course, the interchange, the churches that have gone in, the hospital that's being built, the restaurants, the retail operations, the beautiful homes, but preserving part of the green space that we have here around the township. Perfect spot. What are you guys looking for in a trustee? I read, we're looking for governance and decision making. Yes, I have that. Working with the board and got that. Role-specific insight. Yes, I'm the only candidate you have that's done ZBA and planning and been a trustee. Practical communication, yes. Forward thinking, commitment, there's that. You are correct. Some of you I was not endorsed by the coalition in the primary. Absolutely not. It's the kind of the thing no one wants to talk about. But I think I have a lot more in common with the coalition than some believe. Yes, in the primary, when we're looking at 5.5% and 6% voter turnout, that's what affected the board. And I don't mean it to sound like sour grapes. You guys won. No problem. I've been here to support you the entire time. I follow up on the meetings. I come to Planning Commission as well. I come to the trustee meetings. I follow you online. I have not been not involved. I think the goals that I have are still clear and open communication that leads to consensus decisions. Shouldn't be a lot of no's, should be a lot of yeses. I think we should have better measured growth, more balanced with the project process of the township. I think preserving the park and the green space and our surrounding lands. I'm interested in being a trustee again to keep learning. I recently retired in the past 2 months, and it's a way to keep learning. To Mr. Reiber's questions, I put down my 2 references, Steve Grono and my pastor. And I picked Steve specifically because he has not always been lockstep with the township. He has had confrontations with the township. But I've gotten to know him through both the ZBA as well as the Planning Commission. There are times when he's right, there's times when he's wrong. But I respect his opinion. I respect his drive for customer service. Perfect. So he's not completely Team Jeff. But that's one of the reasons I picked him. I honestly, at this point, Deb's in the back of the room. I put Deb down as a reference. I could put Denise down as a reference. We don't agree 100% on things, but the basic goals of the preservation of the township and the conservative nature of our township, but creating the opportunities for people, that's still there. And lastly, I think that's really it. I'm good.
Okay,
Questions for me?
thank you, Jeff. Does anybody have any questions?
Well, earlier I read a statement about how you said that we were all for the cannabis facilities and all that kind of stuff. Why would you publish something like that?
Well, you didn't read it. You read it for Ms. Nichols,
Right?
part of the coalition.
Yeah, but it was on your website at one time.
I don't think that is verbatim what was on a 3-candidate website run as a write-in.
Jeff, you
I
were,
think it had the words "may" in it.
Jeff,
not
you were,
did.
when you were a write-in candidate, and the people here that recently ran for office, major political parties will put out a mass mailer showing who they endorse. Okay? And I don't want this to be a party thing, but you were endorsed
But you're
by-
making it a party thing then.
You were endorsed, no, because I have a point.
Okay.
You were endorsed by one of the major parties, that the rest of the board ran on the opposite major party and was elected based on their party affiliation. And that other major party did exactly what Candy said. They put out on their flyer that these candidates are receiving funding from cannabis dealerships or cannabis businesses, and that was a complete lie. And you did have the opportunity to go back and stop the press and say, take that off of there, but that's not what happened. I will tell you what is on your write-in candidate, and you can, I'm gonna ask this in the form of the question, is this correct? So that I stay in there. You say, our opponents campaigned on deception, inaccuracies, and misinformation. Their campaigns were backed by false allegations and misconceptions. If all candidates from the primary election prevail in November, there will be an all-new board with the exception of the trustee. We will be losing approximately 100. The majority of them have little or no experience, knowledge of the laws and regulations. These candidates for trustees mounted a significant campaign to mislead voters. So I would be kind of shocked. I would actually be blown away when we reveal who each of these board members supported or threw the names in the hat. Quite honestly, I would be blown away that anybody up here, with the exception of the treasurer who you said ran out unopposed, would have put their name in the hat for you, because it was, you were part of the 3 people that were actually out there deceiving people. So.
Was there a question?
Was there a question there, Bill?
Yeah, what?
What I did ask was this, is this is part of your write-in campaign? And do you still stand by your statements on here, is that we campaigned on deception, inaccuracies, and misinformation?
I believe that the coalition has...
No. Our opponents campaigned.
Do I get to answer the question? This is exactly why I'm trying to be a trustee again.
Go ahead.
There's a process in which we need to get along and get this going. And it's like every meeting, you're reinventing the wheel. Something that I put in the press 13 months ago, as you are supported by a coalition can endorse a candidate. They shouldn't be putting signs in the grounds for candidates and things like that. Is there a moratorium now on zoning in the township? Yes or no?
I think that we approved at
Yes,
least
there
the
is.
6
There's
months.
a moratorium, so there is no current growth going on in the township.
At the time, 13 months ago, was there a moratorium? No.
In my words, in a campaign, write-in campaign at that, were this is what can happen. This is what will happen. It did happen.
These folks are not just against the PUD.
Yep.
They are against all progress and development, and yet we sit up here and vote and approve housing projects.
You do.
We do.
I agree.
Okay, so that's not accurate. And I'm sorry, I don't want to beleaguer this.
But you are.
You are. My question was, do you still believe this? Our opponents campaigned, and I'm not talking about the PUD, I'm not talking about the coalition, but you stated in your writing, and you supported this, that we campaigned on deception, inaccuracies, and misinformation. That is a true statement from your mailer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to follow up. So part of that point is there were many activities that were in process that, yes, you can't stop part of the process that was already happening. And I think you've learned a lot in the last 13 months in doing this role. And kudos to you for doing that. I can say that I was wrong in how dreadfully things would come to a stop. Progress has been made, but yes, some development has stopped here. We now have a moratorium on zoning changes. It's all driven by the master plan, and the master plan is going to drive the future land use planning. It's all tied together, but it's all part of the big picture.
Any further questions for Mr. DeHanans from the board? Good. Thank you, Jeff.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Next up is candidate number 8, Doug Moore. Welcome.
Good evening, board. Thank you. As I said, my name's Doug Moore. I've been interested in public service since I was in high school, including I got myself on the floor of the Michigan House with my representative during session. I know it is necessary for citizens to step up and contribute. I know it's my experiences working with each other and having real evidence-based solutions, and to bring everyone into the solution is how we move forward. I've even done this in my own personal life, since I'm an alumni of both Michigan State and University of Michigan. I have served on public boards before as trustee and treasurer of the Howell Public Schools. That, you may think it's contentious here. When you have 200 parents in there worried about the hockey team, then you know what contention looks like. I'm currently treasurer of the Crystal Valley Homeowners Association. I'm currently the president of the Central Michigan Alumni Chapter of Tau Beta Pi, the National Engineering Honor Society. My professional experience has been in automotive and defense aerospace and product development in both cases. It's interesting, since I had security clearances, my daughter, who's now a captain in the Air Force, is flying things that my wife and I couldn't tell her about, but now she knows what we did. Prior to my retirement in General Motors, I had responsibility for noise and vibration regulatory compliance globally. This included technical, facilities, legal, as well as government and industry relations. Since my retirement, I continue to serve as chair of both national and global technical committees and to support the U.S. Automotive Trade Association. My experience is talking to people to find solutions. On the school board, that definitely meant talking to people you didn't agree with, because we're sitting across the table from sometimes adversarial organizations. But you have to talk to them, and you find a way through it. The biggest thing I really bring to the board is wanting to help this township, which I've lived in for now 25 plus years, both move forward and retain the core of what it is. So for that, as someone who's both lost and won elections, I commend all of you for being out there, because I know what it feels like to sit behind that seat. And I wish you the best as you deliberate on who you choose. Thank you very much.
Okay. Questions from the board?
I have heard that school board, being a candidate running and actually being seated on a school board is a totally different beast than a supervisor, a clerk, a trustee.
Well, I haven't sat in those chairs, so I don't have direct comparison. But my term coincided with putting in the Latson Road interchange. So it coincided with reopening Parker High School and turning it into a middle school, changing 3 fires from an elementary, or from a middle school to elementary. My kids went there as a middle school, not at elementary. Some contentious union negotiations, and unfortunately it concluded with, we actually terminated the superintendent for false false expense reports, which was based on the principle of you have to hold everyone to the same standard. He had fired his own employees for the same thing. So it sometimes things are difficult when people are asking you, the money involved is trivial. It's not the money, it's the principle. So all I can say is I don't know exactly, how difficult yours can be. I can see it from this side of the fence. But yeah, sitting in those chairs on the school board, we had 8,000 students. We were the biggest employer in Livingston County. And yeah, it was an adventure. Thank you.
What made you run to be on the Howell School Board?
I wanted to help, and at the time, it was when Parker was built but closed. It didn't open, Parker High School. And the members at the time said, well, we hope we get more money from the state to open it. And that just triggered something in me, was basically, hope is not a plan. So my thought was like, okay, hoping that the state is gonna dump money from helicopters is not a way forward. So what do we have at our command? What can we do? We just built this $100 million thing and it's sitting there empty. How do we go forward to opening it? And we managed to find that. Was it easy? Was it quick? No. But that was my reason for running. But I tell you, the first time I ran, I didn't win. So there's a rule of, politics 101 is there's some name recognition. I won later. So.
Okay.
One of the questions is, do you have any professional or personal commitments that might limit your ability to fully participate in township duties? Part of your answer states, I have some professional responsibilities that may require my travel.
All true. Same as when I was on the school board. In my responsibilities as chair of the technical associations and to the U.S. Trade Association, I represent them in various governmental forums, and if that means I need to be in Washington or Geneva, that's where I'll be. So did I miss some school board meetings for that? Yes, I did. So.
Does that happen often?
It was minimal. We had meetings just like you every 2 weeks. It depends on, sometimes things stack up, and sometimes, I'm around 6 months straight, not anywhere. But, that's, I would say there's some stuff coming up in January or February this year, and then I'll not going anywhere for a while, so.
And I really do want to focus on the positives of the candidates. In just researching what happened when you were on the school board. I did notice you were recorded absent 20 times in 4 years. Was this related to the duties that you just spoke of, or was there an extenuating circumstance, or?
No, that's primarily the duties, and that's why I put it down. I mean, it's fair for you to know about that.
Okay.
So,
Absolutely.
you know, that's,
Just clarification, my son graduated from Parker, so it was open 1 year.
that's true. It was, yes, it was. Yeah, it was. So you have a special son.
Yeah.
You have a special son. In the packet, it said we could ask a question to the board. Is that
Absolutely.
available to? That,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
All right, the question that I wanted to ask, and you don't have to answer, maybe just think about it, is do you talk to each other? If yes, why? If no, why not? Because my experience is you want to. So when I say talk to each other, one-on-one, even about non-township business, do you know each other? I find that helpful in reaching solutions. So I'm not expecting an answer, but it is a question for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will only speak for myself. I view everybody up here as a friend and a compatriot on the board. We talk with everybody quite regularly.
Good to know.
And as, there was a movie that came out not too long ago called Nuremberg, about the Nuremberg trials and so forth. And while they were putting that together, it was Supreme Court Justice Jackson who was putting it together. He knew he had to get a group of people together to make this work. It shouldn't just be a U.S. court that would hold water for an international incident with Nuremberg. He had to get the allies all involved. But there was one statement that he made in it all, or was made to him in all. Just because they're their allies doesn't mean they're on your side. So the point I got from that is, even though we're all allies here, not always are we on the same side.
Absolutely. I believe me, there was, short of the consent agreements or the consent agendas on the board, we had a number where they were not 7-0. And that's just the way it was. And when you walked out of the room, the board president spoke for the board. It's just how it is.
Right.
I guess I'd just like to add, I have always encouraged residents as well as trustees to always reach out to me if they have a complaint, a question, a concern about any decision that I made. I'm always open door, or phone.
Thank you.
All right.
We're good?
Thank you, Don.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Up next is candidate number 9, Jody Valenti. Welcome.
Welcome, and thank
And
you
this
for
is where I'm
having me.
supposed to say, please tell us a little about yourself and why are you interested in serving as a township trustee?
Well, I guess first I'll say I'm not a politician, so I am definitely nervous sitting in this seat. A little bit about myself. I moved to Livingston County in '87. I've lived 21 years in Genoa Township. Graduated from Brighton High School. My kids are at Brighton High School, or two of them have gone through, one is still there. So have a very vested interest in this community. Doing the master plan survey and doing the questionnaire for this position kind of took me down a trip down memory lane and thinking about what Livingston County and what Genoa Township, how it's evolved over the past, 30, 40 years. So, that's kind of my drive to do this. Currently, I work for Brighton Area Schools. I hold 2 positions there. They're kind of combined into one, but I oversee the senior center, which many of you know because I've talked to you through that. And then I also am over adult and youth enrichment programs and the community events. So definitely involved with a wide range of residents, ages, all the way from the little kids all the way up to obviously our senior citizens. So I see a lot of things, I hear a lot of things about our community. And I guess one of the reasons why I've decided to, put my foot in this race is, I'm kind of concerned. I have concerns about growth. You see a lot of, I want to grow. I want us to grow. But like every other candidate kind of has concerns, Genoa Township is unique in that you kind of feel like you're in the country, but you can go to downtown Brighton or you can go to downtown Howell and have that city life. And I'd hate what I don't want to see is, I remember a time when you left Brighton and you drove through the country to get to Howell, and it's kind of losing that, and I just don't want to get it to a point where you don't know when you've left Brighton and you don't know when you've gotten to Howell. It's just one continuous thing. We see a lot of people that are, gravitating out this way. We've had tremendous growth in Livingston County because they don't, Livonia, Northville, Novi, people out there, the congestion, the traffic, so they're coming this way because we didn't have that. But, that brings challenges to our community with that. Another reason is I took a look at some numbers. Our township it's kind of interesting. About 45% of our residents are 60 or older. About 20% are under 18, and then the rest fall somewhere in between. And those are wide age gaps of people to serve. Obviously, being associated with the senior center, it wasn't a job I ever asked for. I was kind of put in that position 6 years ago, and I was asked to just oversee for a few weeks, and it turned into a permanent thing. But when you serve the community in a way like that, it kind of opens your eyes to things that you don't realize are there. Prior to running a senior center, I knew it was there. I worked in community ed, so I knew we had a senior center. I knew it was there. I knew a bunch of, for lack of better words, old people went and played bingo and euchre. Once I actually lived it day to day and I met the people, it changed my perspective, and I'm very protective of it. And I'm very protective of the seniors, and I start viewing things in a different perspective because I've worked in corporate America. When I started in my 20s, I worked for a tier 1 automotive supplier. I took some time off to raise my kids, and then I landed in community ed. And then, like I said, now at the senior center, but it kind of opened your eyes. I mean, I'm in that mid-range, but I'm gonna be old. Like, all of us are gonna be old someday. So it just gives you, serving the public, I always tell people there's a couple of things every single person should do. You should either serve in the military or you should serve the public, and it will give you a completely different perspective on life. So it's kind of where I'm at. Any questions?
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, board questions for Ms. Valenti.
What do you like about working with the seniors?
Oh, it has its challenges. My grandparents passed away when I was young. I was in my 20s when I lost all my grandparents, or they were all gone. It's kind of like having like a whole community of grandparents. And some of them are my age. That's kind of sad because we do have some 50-year-olds in our center. It's just the knowledge and the viewpoints. I can ask all of them questions that I didn't get to ask my grandparents about, raising my kids because they weren't around for that. Or my biggest thing with how the times are right now and the political climate and various things. I like to ask them, was it the same way back in the 60s or the 70s? Like, does it compare, or is it, all doomsday like we constantly get fed? So it's interesting to hear their stories because, they're a wealth of knowledge, and I just love to hear their stories and share them, and so probably one of my favorite things, taking care of them.
Excellent. We appreciate all you do for our seniors.
Any other questions?
Any further questions?
Thank you.
You're the first person to come up here and sit down without a notepad in front of you, and that says a lot.
Well, I went rounds on how to prepare for this, and it came down to, I'm just gonna speak from my heart.
That's what it shows.
So,
It worked for you.
Good job.
so thank you.
Excellent. Thank you
No more
very much.
questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And up next, we have candidate number 10, Jim Carpenter.
Thank you for having me today.
Thank you
I
for
appreciate,
applying.
yeah, I appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody. I think the one nice thing to say today is that being the last guy, that you have frankly an easy job in a way. I don't think you're gonna get a bad candidate no matter who you end up picking. So that's a testament of the community for sure and the people that are interested in what's going on. A little about me. I've been here 27 years. I live in North Shore. We built our house there, obviously a long time ago, and we've seen all this growth that has occurred. You know, back in those days, you have to think back. There was no Myers, there was no Walmart, there was no Home Depot, no Latson Road. You know, none of those things occurred back when we first moved in. We moved out from Farmington, and the one thing that we didn't look at when we were coming here is that we never said to ourselves, we can't wait until this becomes Farmington. You know, we lived here because we liked the ruralness of it. I think well, a little bit about my background. I'm retired now, and I was a director of program management before that for about 5 years for a major automotive supplier. Previous to that, I was, in a way, a troubleshooter. I traveled the world fixing plants and processes. I would travel every other week to Mexico or to some plants here in the States, and I spent 6 months in China. So I've dealt with a lot of different people, and it's very difficult to build a consensus and to get things done, especially when you don't speak the language, and cultures are different. So it takes a kind of a unique approach to be able to get people to understand what you're doing and to go along with what you're doing. It's especially difficult, which I had to do several times, is that we moved facilities from the US to Mexico. And I had to go to US plants, basically tell them that they would lose their jobs, but I want you to help me make this a successful transfer. And every time we did, I frankly hated doing that, but it was part of my job, and that's what we did. Since I retired, I helped a guy build a house. I went to Sturgis on my motorcycle, done a few things like that. But I also I got involved into the elections. In 2016, you know, there's a lot of talk, there's election fraud, different things. So I didn't know much about elections, so I said, let's go check it out. So I worked 2 cycles in Washtenaw County and the rest of them here, and I was a chairperson here the last 2 times. So I very much enjoyed that. I learned a lot about it, and it allows me to talk intelligently to other people when they start talking about things that are incorrect. You guys have seen me up here many times bitching, and I'm taking that same tact. I don't want to just be a complainer. I don't want to say we need to do things differently. I want to be involved and to do stuff. So I'd like to be a part of what is going on and how we do things. I think that one of the things that I think that boards in general misunderstand, or maybe I'm wrong, is they have a lot more power than what we think. It seems that for many, many years, when the developers came in here, they were given carte blanche, and they were allowed to do whatever they wanted to do. And the boards never took the strategy of saying no. And I think that we're coming to that point here in this township to preserve the rural character is to start saying no. Or if we say yes, it comes with other caveats that maybe were unusual before. For instance, we have the apartment complex here on Door Road. You know, there's farmland just south of the railroad tracks. At some point, somebody's going to want to develop that. Those 2 things will kill Door Road, right? I mean, and the intersection is going to be a huge problem. you know, why at that time don't we start looking at infrastructure bonds, if you want to call it that, where we go to a developer and say, yes, if you want to do that, you've got to contribute to how we're going to fix our roads. Not maybe or later, because every traffic study I've been, and I've been to a bunch of them now, every traffic study says it never impacts what's going on. And it's a death by 1,000 cuts, because every individual unit does not have an impact, but cumulatively it does. And then when we get to that point, who pays for it? Well, we do. The taxpayers do. The developers don't pay for any of that. If we start building a fund managed by us that says every development that we have, you're going to contribute X amount of dollars in there, then maybe when we get to these points where we need to do improvements, we'll have the money to do it, and we have to go back to the taxpayers. Same thing with subdivisions. We have homeowners associations. I have one now, and there's 2 North Shore people in here right now. We know we need our roads replaced, but we can't get them replaced. The county says, nope, they're not going to do it. And we make a yearly payment, but it never went to the replacing the roads. So now we're at a point where nothing gets done, but it would have been very easy for this group to go to the developer at the time and say, your homeowners association has to account for this. You have to build this in so that 20 years from now, when you need a new road, you've paid for it. And so that things are already done, and that saves us, the taxpayers, a lot of money. So, I mean, I think we can be very selective now because we're to a point where we don't need a lot of growth. I mean, I don't hear people saying, boy, I wish we had this or I wish we had that. We have most everything we want. And the evidence is people are still moving out here. But we can't allow ourselves to become Novi or South Lyon or Livonia, because then we lose that same character. So I like to be involved with that. As a problem solver that I've been basically my whole life, I like to be involved to help come up with maybe innovative ideas on how we can do something that can manage our growth and then also manage our resources more effectively. I know with the lapse in PUD, you know, we have stuff going. I'm sure there's negotiation going on now with the court cases. What are we getting from him, right? There's always, well, there's a tax increase, but where does that affect the citizens? Are we getting a tax decrease? You know, too often the townships look at, and I was just in Jackson, and I talked to a township supervisor. He said, yeah, we're getting a battery storage facility, and it's going to bring in all its taxes. At that very same party was somebody that that's where the part was the battery was going to go in his backyard. He's like, I absolutely don't want to see this. So the township was saying, yeah, look at all this money, but the citizen was saying, look at my reduced quality of life. And we, the board, needs to look at that. We are here to represent the citizens, and we need to look at what's best for the citizenry, not necessarily, quote, township. Just raising and getting more revenue is not necessarily a good thing in my mind. We need to do what's best for the citizens. So that's where I'm at. Thank you for having me.
Not to kill the mood, just real quick. Excellent prognosis on having the developers start to fund and all. I know a guy super well that brought up with our township manager what a spectacular idea that would be, and she unfortunately told me I can't do that.
It does sound like a great idea, and there are other states in our country that allow for that. There's a program called Developments of Regional Impact that Florida has and a few other states. In Michigan, unfortunately, that concept is outstanding but illegal, so it's not something that we're allowed.
Yeah, but it's only illegal because somebody says it is, right? There's a group of townships that gather together right now, right? And we're fighting, what is it, the solar farm?
EA 230.
Yeah. Yep. We could do the same thing, right? We can get laws changed. There's nothing that says we can't. It's just a matter of willpower to do that. So, you know, it can happen. One other thing, I am just so everybody knows, I'm the guy that didn't put any references on my resume. So, and there's a reason I do that. I've interviewed lots of people through my life, and I never, ever called a reference. Because, you know, calling somebody's mom or their sister, it doesn't really make much difference on what's going on, right? The only time I ever use a reference is when I personally knew who the reference was. And so that I know that. Taking information from somebody that you don't know that says, yeah, this is a great guy. Well, I don't know this guy either. So, you know, how good is that information? So I didn't put that on there. I mean, if there was certainly, if you wanted to talk to somebody that knows me, I'd be more than happy to provide those. But that's why I don't do that.
Are the streets in North Shore public or private?
They are public now. They were at one time private, and then they converted over. Though we hire our own snow plowing thing, which knocks down half of the mailboxes and makes people quite upset. But we are public right now. And we have talked about doing the SAD type thing, but we can't seem to get a quorum for our homeowners association to get enough people to say, yes, let's do it. So you end up in this do loop and nothing happens, right? So.
Yeah.
You know, the roads get deteriorated and more so, and then you get some residents say, well, the county should pay for it, and you tell them the county won't pay for it, and they don't care. They say the county should pay for it. And so, had we built this in, we wouldn't even be talking about this. And I have the same thing, I have a place up north, and we have a sewer system up there, and the sewer system now needs to be upgraded, all the pumps and things. It's $19 million, and we have 900 residents on the lake. And so the state's saying you gotta fix it. Well, we can't afford to fix it, right? And so going through the gyrations, I pay $154 a month for sewer bill up there. And, you know, that's not even touching it, that's just to get us started. And that's what can happen here too, and that's what happened to their citizens. And that's why I thought, you know, we start building in these type of things. And even if it's a homeowners association, especially, you know, we've got the new condo or the new place going out by the mountain. You know, if they built that into their homeowners association, 20 years from now when they need it, they won't be standing here or trying to figure it out. They'll have the vast majority of their money ready. And, you know, then we're kicking in a little bit. I know we do a lot of these things anyway, you know, that's also sometimes an irritant of we're paying for Pine Creek subs, you know, roads, you know, but they pay for ours. But I understand that. But, you know, if we did that, then we could resolve some of these issues.
Just a quick point of clarification, North Shore has a mix of public and private roads, which also is contributing to
Well, yeah,
sort
they're
of
very
this
bad,
difficulty.
yeah,
And the North Shore Commons
Yeah.
is also private roads. The
And do-
condos are private roads.
Do they have different HOAs in there too? Yeah, so that's gonna complicate it even more.
Yeah.
Oof.
And, yeah, I won't get into that.
Me neither.
It's all a part of the struggle.
Yeah, it's part of the struggle.
So, Mr. Carpenter, I am also a program manager. So I know what that is to build a team, to be the great part of it is that you have all of the responsibility, right? But you have none of the authority to delegate a lot of stuff. So you're babysitting and tattletaling on people a lot. So I really appreciate, you know, that level of connection. How did you, and I think you may have said it, you got involved in the coalition because you just didn't want to turn into another metropolitan area and preserve the ruralness, right?
Yeah, you know, and part of the whole process here, the shameful part of what's happened, and this is generic comment in our world is, you know, we're getting a new trustee and we got, what, 20 people here, you know, out of 20,000, that people should be very interested in what's going on and how governance is actually happening. And that it doesn't really happen, and I was that way for a long time too. When we got to this, the one that got me excited was the asphalt plant. And that's why I started really getting involved. We got to, you know, almost the end stages of having an asphalt plant and, you know, over by Walmart. And reality is nobody knew it was happening. You know, you know, and I'm not throwing stones at anybody, is that the information was available, but we had an argument in one meeting about push and pull. The information was available if you went and got it, but it was never made available to you before. And so people didn't realize what was going on until you got till the 8th stage out of 10, and then everybody got up in arms and we fought back and were able to defeat that. That was one of the meetings we had about push and pull, and you guys came up with the Genoa app where the information is sent out. It's a great thing because now people can see what's going on and have a more input earlier. And you can see it's not really apathy in my mind, it's people are busy. And they only get involved when they see it to affect them, right? And so this gives us a little early warning, and you can see when people are interested, this Round Lake deal, right? People are interested, they show up, they do their thing, and then they go away, and you won't see those people again till something comes up that that interests them. It doesn't mean they're not involved, and I run into that in my neighborhood all the time, is that I run into people, hey, what's going on? And we talk about it, but they don't come to the meetings, except for Ben. He shows up to the meetings. But, you know, that's how I got involved with it, and basically started being more concerned about civil responsibility.
And you do attend board meetings, so thank you. Thank you for,
I don't attend them all. Summertime's a little tough sometimes, but
yeah.
especially if it's boring topics.
Yeah, and my comment towards people that attend the board meetings, you know, you're right, there is a level of apathy, right? But the people that do attend the board meetings, even though the number is small relative to the population, they do care enough to get off the couch and come here and plead their case or complain or to compliment or to ask. So I put a lot of weight to the citizens that do come in here and sit down and watch the board deliberate and offer their opinions, their support. So, yeah, I mean, that's important to me, you know, that people participate in it.
Well, we do get comments when we're talking, and we used to walk the dog all the time, but he passed away, is that, do we need to show up for this meeting? And a lot of times I'll say, no, this one we don't need to worry about yet. But this next one, yeah, you need to show up for. And you see that, like in Howell Township, where they're trying to get that data center in there, you know, they have 800 people showed up with 5 days' notice. So when you let people know that it's important, they get out and do it. But if it's not, you know, Jeopardy's on and other things, you know, I hate to say it, but that's what happens sometimes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
I appreciate your enthusiasm.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay.
That all?
That concludes the interview process for the evening. Again, I want to thank everybody, even the people who aren't here this evening. I want to thank everybody who offered to step up and fill the position. The biggest of thanks. I will tell you, in my opinion, we honestly had 12 extremely qualified people. We really did. Various different backgrounds, but all willing to step up and answer the call, and we do appreciate that. So I guess at this moment, if anyone would like to take some final notes, anything that they wish to record, does anyone need a moment?
Yeah,
I'd
let's
like to
take
go
a
get some
5 minute.
water.
Yeah.
We could take a
Yeah.
5-minute break.
I am a little uncomfortable with taking a break, as it may be viewed as people talking outside of the table. Joe, do you have an opinion on that?
Well, you can take a break, but there cannot be any discussion.
I don't want
we can be
to,
adults.
we've gone to great pains, I don't want to poison the well.
Speak for yourself.
I am totally comfortable
I
with
wanna
a
go to
break.
the
I am
water fountain.
Totally comfortable with a break.
You go.
Maybe we
As soon as
go
you
in
walk away, I'm
shifts
getting.
of one at a time. I hate to do that, so we will take it. I'm sure the audience would like a break as well. It is
gonna go to the
8:58
kitchen
PM,
and
so we
fill
will
up my
take a
jug.
10-minute break.
You guys have water in there, bottled water? In the kitchen?
Possibly on
Duffy has asked me to use that Wednesday.
All set, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we will reconvene the meeting at 9:08 PM. Thank you, everybody. So with this, we move to the post-interview board process. Step number 1 is open discussion among the board about the interviews. So the floor is open if anyone would like to share their thoughts.
I guess I'd just start with saying, and I know you've said it already, we had all good candidates, and it's very unusual to have this many. Like you said, Chelsea got 2. So it was nice to have so many qualified candidates, but it made it very difficult as well, so.
I agree.
Yeah, and I think that the candidates presented themselves well. You know, it is, you know, Jody said it's very nerve-wracking, you know, especially if you're not used to speaking in public events or in front of customers, or, you know, and program managers in front of, you know, plant managers and so forth and so appreciate, and then Todd pointed out that you came without any kind of notes, which was pretty brave, so thank you for that.
I think everybody did excellent, represented themselves very well. I have no doubt we will end up with a very professional trustee who's very qualified to join this board.
Mm-hmm.
Would anyone else like to make any further comments?
Well, I guess.
What is the optional time to review notes if requested?
If you would like a little bit more time to review your notes, if you're not sure who it is you support or don't support, we can take that time right now. That's more of a silent portion than us talking. Made mine and have my highlights and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, everyone's had time to review their notes. That means that open discussion and interviews are closed. It is now to...
Can I be recognized by the board, please?
Absolutely.
Since we're on to motion to appoint,
I was just about to say that.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Carpenter to fill the vacant seat of trustee.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion?
My concern about Mr. Carpenter is he's been very passionate. He's come here many times, but he also has spent time cursing at us from that spot. And that's not the decorum that I want to see up here. That's my concern.
I remember the pounding of the gavel, and I think that Mr. Carpenter was cursing not necessarily at any people, but at what was happening. We all got out of hand at the meeting. The level of professionalism had dropped below what he expected. And he got up here and he did use a curse word, I will say.
We didn't all
because
get
you
out of
asked him to
hand.
repeat it. You did ask him to repeat it.
I couldn't believe I heard it, but yeah, you're right. I did, I guess, ask him to repeat it. I might have said I said something I shouldn't have.
But he was passionate when he said that. You don't do that unless you curse like a sailor. He was passionate. He's here. He shows up at the meetings. He's passionate about that. You know, he shares some of our views, which is why I elected to make a motion, you know, to appoint him, is because he's been steady here. Being a program manager, I know how his mind has to tick to be successful in what he does. And, you know, that really was a huge plus. He is a member of a group of people that are very much concerned on what we ran on was preserving the natural character of Genoa. Now, there were other people that brought that same point up. I mean, but in the combination, you know, he's even had he just seems to me to be the best of the candidates that we interviewed right here. And I think, in my opinion, he would be the best fit as a member of the board right here. And that's why I now motion to appoint him.
Yep. He cares about the community. He's thinking outside the box. We need somebody like that to help us. Passionate about it.
Yep.
Cares about it.
And he's been in a position of leadership, which helps. He knows timeline, he knows organization, this to this to this to that, and if that, then this. So all, you know, just all pluses. So I fully support my motion to appoint.
And I appreciate the comments. For myself, I'm more looking for calm in the board, a team that can work together. And I personally have a different candidate that I felt checked all those boxes for that.
He's sat here a lot of meetings, right, patiently, sometimes getting up to speak, you know, ahead. But it was a very passionate meeting.
It was.
Not just between him, but there was a bunch of other people that were passionate. Yeah. So, you know, I'm okay to give him the benefit of the doubt. Usually he sits there with a pretty calm, look at him. He's cool as a cucumber right now.
Yeah. But the other candidates are as well, but yes,
Got that.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, any further discussion? We do have a motion, we do have a second. So at this time, I will ask Clerk Susie to do a roll call vote, please.
Reiber,
Yes.
Walker,
No.
Hunt,
No.
Horvath,
Yes.
Susie, no. Spire,
No. Okay,
sorry, Jim.
thank you. First motion to appoint, did not care. At this time, I will open up the floor to additional motions.
Then I would like to make a motion to appoint Jody Valenti for the open trustee spot.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion?
I guess just to support my motion,
Please.
I was very impressed by Jody's application. Your strong community involvement, I think it will serve Genoa very well. Your answers on your questionnaire were exactly what I was looking for, and I think you'll fit in well here and be an excellent team player.
Okay, any further comments?
Nope, Jody's very good at what she does with the seniors, for instance.
I'm sorry, excuse me?
She's very good at what she does at our senior center. I would agree.
Yeah, excellent, thank you for providing that. Okay.
The only comment I will make is I think you're an excellent candidate also, Jody. I have another candidate that I feel a little stronger about is where I'm at right now. But I'm just one vote.
Did she get a second?
Not yet.
Oh.
Oh, wait, yes, I did.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
This guy.
Sorry.
this guy.
Guy down at the end.
Yep, so we did have a motion, we have a second. So with that, I will ask Clerk Susie to do a roll call vote, please.
Hunt,
Yes.
Reiber,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Hovarder,
Yes.
Susie, no. Spire.
Yes. Motion carried. Congratulations, Mr. Lang. Welcome aboard. We'll get with you and let you know the process is.
So one of them would be that I need to swear you in.
Yes, that's the biggest process.
Yeah, and we can do that yet tonight if you want. I'm ready for it.
Absolutely. Again, I sincerely thank everybody who showed up. I had multiple candidates I could support, so.
As did I.
With that,
I don't think there was a bad one in the bunch.
Trustee Reiber has requested that we reveal our nominees, and this would be the time to do that. We can start on the left, we can start on the right, doesn't matter to me, it's not gonna change the answer.
I'll go. I picked 8, 9, and 10.
Did you know the names?
Yeah, Doug
I-
Moore, Jody Valente, and Mr. Carpenter.
Okay, excellent.
I picked 4, 2, and 9. 4 is Daryl, 2 is Mike, and 3 was Jody.
My nominees that were here this evening were Jody and Mike. Not Mike, Virginia, number 2.
All right, well, I think as trustee Reiber spoke during Jeff Dehanen's, I think he might as well just ask who voted for Jeff, because that's why we're doing this. So my number 1 choice dropped out, my number 2 choice was Jeff, and my number 3 choice was Daryl Kenny. And just for explanation's sake, I went through the applications with the redacted names and looked to see who was the most qualified. Nobody at this table can deny Jeff is the most qualified candidate sitting out there. Did things go wrong in the last election? Absolutely. Jeff eventually did get removed from my list. I realized that a lot of the people don't want somebody appointed that wasn't elected, that didn't win the last election. And that's why I didn't end up proposing
I
a
do feel
nomination.
it's fair to say the person who had the letter read at the call to the public said I issued an edict that nobody who lost in the election could be considered. I just expressed, that's my opinion. I cannot make rules like that. That is not a position I hold here. I just said, in my opinion, I am not comfortable supporting anyone who the voters had already said no to, and I have held firm to that in both of these processes.
Well, and the discussion process too was about someone being so involved. There's nobody been more involved than Jeff the last year in these boards. Not only this board, but Planning Commission and ZBA as well, so.
I will not.
I couldn't not consider Jeff Dehanen.
The 3 people that I put forth was candidate 1, candidate 8, and candidate 10. 8 was Doug, 10 was Jim.
Okay.
And what was the other one?
Number 1.
Number 1 was.
Number 1 did not make the final cut. I don't know if it's necessary, Kelly, we
No,
know who
it
that
doesn't.
is, but
We don't
No.
need to, no.
yeah, a good candidate.
So we discussed that we would reveal who we nominated out of who made the cut.
Right.
And the one that I nominated that made the cut was Daryl Kenny.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
everybody satisfied with that result?
Right.
With that, we have concluded the trustee nomination process. Again, I can't say thank you enough to everybody who
And-
took the time and put themselves out there for consideration. I hope you'll all still, we'll probably have some planning commission seats, some zoning board of appeals seats. I want everybody to stay involved. I know some of you are on my citizens advisory council. Stay
And I just
active
want to
in that.
make it clear, even though I voted no, Jody, I totally support you being on the board. I just had another candidate that I thought was just a little more qualified. Okay, I just wanted to let you know. No.
You're a politician already.
I already learned a little bit about you when I came out to the senior center and you gave me the tour and everything. Yeah, did a nice job out there. Okay, next on the agenda, Brighton Road project, field.
That took my agenda.
Well, you can use mine, it's right
I
there.
probably had my notes as I look. So, moving on, that was the last action item. So we are now on to discussion items, and discussion item number 9 is an update on the progress of the Brighton Road property fieldwork investigation and notice of public workshop on Wednesday, January 7th, 2026, right here at 6:30 PM, as submitted by the supervisor. Our consultant spent the better part of a week out at the property, going ahead and really doing a significant tree survey. We have a very good inventory of what's there, and sadly, we have a better inventory of what's not there. The destruction was a little worse than we had certainly hoped in terms of how many trees we might need to replace.
Carnage.
Depending on what kind of granting we might get. Perhaps it's possible to return it all to fully wooded area. If not, I think our consultant has come up with some good ideas as to some different kinds of plantings that will work to keep it natural, but the biggest problem with trying to put all the trees back is if you don't plant some pretty big ones, the deer, especially the bucks, are going to kill them. So, and the bigger the tree, the more expensive, the bigger the need for funding. So a lot of this workshop will be looking at different ideas and possibilities for the property. And then also considering some funding ability, how to raise funds to do what it is we want to do over there, whatever it is we decide we want to do.
We
I
might
think
have
it
a
was-
big meadow.
Yeah, we could have a big meadow.
Kevin, I just got a question. Are you guys gonna release the study that the person that did the field work?
He will have it that night.
So it will be at J.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what, if he has the digital file, which I think he does, I'm not 100% sure, we'll release it to people who aren't there. I mean, we definitely want the public to know.
January 7th, I just marked.
Yeah, it's, the people will decide what it is that ultimately happens there. I think he's come up with a very unique idea of how he can cut in a ring road that will kind of be the access point to the entire property. And then he's zoned it off into different sections. And, some still have pretty good growth, some have nothing. Others have some growth that may not be great, but may not be terrible. So these are things we're gonna discuss, and public input will ultimately decide.
And it might be a multi-year project, where we work on this zone and then this zone and so forth. But it's going to be at that workshop.
What's that? 6:30 on the 7th.
On the 7th.
January 7th, which is a Wednesday. Sadly, it will take a lot longer to restore it to something we all wanna see than it took to destroy it, but.
I am intrigued by the goats for hire.
Yeah.
I love the idea. It was brought up to have the goats. Yeah, exactly. Worked great.
And part of his presentation, he's got some great maps. He's got some great maps showing the past, what it looked like, all these different stages. And it gives us a little bit of a history lesson to the property as well, and where we're at today, so.
What time is that meeting?
6:30, just like our meetings here, which hopefully gives people enough time to come. We hope to pack the room.
Yeah.
and really get some information out there, and if need be, you know, we can do a second one. I will invite some of the people who have offered, you know, maybe some governmental support to sit in with us. I don't know if they'll attend or not, but I will certainly ask.
So we can't have a quorum here, can we?
We cannot have a quorum. However, Joe, I still
Well,
feel.
you can have a quorum if you're sitting there.
In the audience. Right.
Okay.
Okay, but you can't be discussing decisions or actions.
Okay.
It's not gonna be that kind of meeting anyway, right?
Right.
We're being informed. Yeah.
I don't want anyone who is interested in this project to not attend. We can very easily, three of us sit up here and scatter people throughout the room and have no problem.
Good.
I don't feel.
And it'll be YouTubed.
You know what, yes, we can do that. I hadn't technically decided, but yeah, why not? Absolutely, so.
Well, the only thing with the YouTube, just as a comment, is that you can't see the screen very well when you're on the YouTube part of it, so.
For the
I think it's a good
displays?
idea, But if we can find some way to put the screen up, you know, onto
The camera,
yeah, on the camera, then it would be perfect, otherwise, you don't see anything.
yeah.
To see the maps and stuff. I think we have a way-ish.
I just figured that out. So actually tonight during our recess, I was able to put up on the screen that the boardroom, the board was in recess.
You know you
so.
can zoom on YouTube?
Yeah, you can, but it's still, because of the angle the camera's at, it doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can share what's on a screen to the YouTube feed. Yep. We did that for the planning and zoning for everyone workshop, and I think it worked out really well.
Okay, excellent. Any further questions on discussion item number 9? Okay, I will consider that closed. Discussion item number 10 is an update on the master plan survey as submitted by Supervisor Spire. And I will say, it looks like we have about 2.5 hours left to get that done. I believe our magic number was 912 as of 1 p.m.
Yes.
So 912, I so desperately want to get to 1,000. I'm hounding all of my friends via text. You know, so I invite everybody to do the same. Hound anyone you know that lives in Genoa Township and tell them we need 1,000 people here.
How many were
We
there
have
last
gotten
time?
spectacular feedback. I mean, 912 is far more than the last time, so I think we have gotten pretty good. But I just set the goal pretty high, and I don't like to fail.
It's sad, but it's definitely better.
So, but that is, you know, Genoa.org, right in the middle, under latest news, the very top item is the link to the master plan survey. If you haven't done it, I can't stress enough, you got 2.5 hours left. This is for my wife. If you're watching at home, fill out the survey. And, yeah.
Do it on your own IP address.
Any further questions or concerns on that discussion item?
It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we wanted, and we got it, I didn't get the bump I had hoped from the insert with the taxes.
Yeah.
Robin was nice enough to include that on the back page of the tax, and that got us maybe 100 bump. I really kind of hoped.
Most of them are still sitting in the envelope waiting to drive here and pay.
They are.
They don't.
They are. It was a great effort. Otherwise, we would have closed it earlier, but we're just trying to drive. I really thought 2,000, which would be 10%, was like totally achievable, but I won't lie, Giffords told me that would never happen. I hate it when they're right. I guess that's why they're the experts.
Worth a try.
Moving on then, is an update, discussion item number 11, which is an update on internal investigation as submitted by Clerk Susie.
Yes, we've reached out to several law firms on this investigation. We've gotten a couple of quotes in for that already. We're still hoping to get a couple of more, but at the direction of this board, I want to know how they want to proceed. Right now, we have 2, and they're basically falling into the same category. This is going to be between a $25,000 and $35,000 bill. For someone who's concerned about attorney's fees, this is a big one, to do this investigation. So we've got 2, we can look for more. It's been suggested, Candy had sent in one today, yesterday, I guess it was, that she recommended that we're gonna reach out to them, but we suspect they're gonna say no, because they're already involved with other issues with us right now. And they're a big firm. And we have another suggestion that came in for a local law firm to bring someone in locally to look at that. And we're hoping that they might give us a quote as well. But right now, we're looking at $25,000 to $35,000 to do this internal investigation. So.
So
I would-
much money.
Yeah.
I would like to wait for a couple more because of the extreme cost.
Yep.
I do want to say during our current interviews, one thing that was stressed by multiple people was that toxicity is not a legal term, so you're not going to get a legal recommendation that says anything about toxic environment or toxicity. Hostile work environment is a legal term. You would get
And the
something.
definition is quite different.
However, hostile work environment is it has to be attributed to your membership in a protected class. Race, creed, sexual preference, orientation,
There's a
gender
list.
identity, a lot of things that are probably not going to apply here. The only one that I know of that's painfully obvious would be female, sex. And given the
99% of our office.
yeah, given the makeup of the staff, I don't see a legal hostile claim being established here.
Anyway,
But
but.
we'll
but we're-
certainly, these are just things that.
They'll do the
were legally pointed out.
investigation, and so I'm looking for direction from the board in terms of where they want to proceed with this. Do you want to get a few more quotes and bring it up again next meeting? So,
Are we okay with using a local firm? I know before,
I am.
people kind of wanted an outside firm.
No, I think that's a good idea. We ought to consider it at least.
Oh,
That
I'm
would
fine
save
with
some money and mileage
maybe.
and time.
Maybe.
How local?
maybe,
How local?
Brighton.
Brighton.
I'm not gonna disclose the name right now until they,
Right.
but we have been recommended for, has been brought up for a local law firm in Brighton for us to contact, and I haven't done that yet.
Have we done work with them before, this local person? Or have they done work for us
Not
before?
directly, but indirectly, the person is involved, not, yeah, no, we have not. But there is a slight connection, but it's not direct.
It is a
It's
person
not a
that
conflict that you think?
the court feels confident in intervening in disputes, is how I would describe it.
A mediator.
This person is a mediator. I am comfortable, I mean, if anyone has a name of somebody they suggest that they feel is qualified to run this investigation, we are open to suggest. We'll call anyone and everyone. We'll get as many quotes as we can. Not everybody is super interested in doing it, but
Yeah,
For the
we've had a couple
reasons
of people put
expressed.
us off, say, nope, not something we do. Or recommend people in Grand Rapids, which are going to be long drives to get here to do all this stuff.
Charged by the hour,
So,
right.
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah,
so
keep looking.
get a couple more, try to get a couple more.
I think we have to do this, one way or the other, right? This is what our people wanted us to do, so, but I do, just a quick question, the first one, the Fahey, if I'm pronouncing it, Fahey Schultz,
Yep,
I'm concerned because they're involved with MHOG. and
They are
I'm worried
representing
that
them in their-
That might be a conflict of interest.
they're representing them in their new incorporation. Council has also told us that everybody at MHOG can be interviewed. The only one that should not be interviewed is Greg, but he can make that decision on his own if he wants to buck that. But that's the only conflict they have, is they're involved in the new incorporation of MHOG splitting off.
But the
staff
split
can-
off MHOG could still be subject to interview
The staff,
by the investigators.
the staff,
And why is Greg immune?
because he's the guy.
Okay.
He's their client in doing it.
It's not necessarily that he's immune.
He's not immune to it.
They're just
I mean,
recommending he does
They're
not
just recommending that he not be, but
Because it
Greg
would
is
be
saying he'd be happy to,
Greg
but,
has
you know.
expressed that he would be more than happy to interview. So, if we decide to go with that firm,
And they have done work for us in the past. They're very capable. They understand Genoa. They were involved with the Poly investigation.
What are they involved with us right now? What's Fahey Schultz doing for us right now? I think you said something.
The MHOG article, so
Oh,
as
that-
part of
that it's-
MHOG creating their own authority,
Okay.
they're drafting articles of
Articles of
incorporation.
incorporation.
They're drafting legal documents for him
Okay.
currently.
which is a huge law firm, and the person who's handling that portion of it is not the person who would be doing this investigation. Two totally different people within the
Not
same
investigating something with MHOG.
blanket
just like
law
doing
firm.
paperwork.
So.
As long as it would be different people, I wouldn't have.
Yeah,
a
I
problem.
don't have a concern with it, other than, that's a lot of money to spend.
That is a lot.
for
It's a lot of money.
something that, you know,
It was the one I recommended that is involved with a different lawsuit.
they
For
are,
us.
they are representing us 3 times, so.
3 times already,
Currently?
currently.
Yike.
So,
Yeah.
still a large firm, would be a separate person handling it, so I mean, it's not, I don't know that that's a problem, but if you wanna keep the optic totally clean and have a person who doesn't do any business with us, then we need to, keep looking.
Yeah, I'll do that. So
Thank you.
the next board meeting, I'll give you an update.
Just a question, Rick, I guess, as clerk, how did this hiring fall to you? Why is this not?
It's not hiring.
It's
Seeking out, it's my job as a clerk to get out the information. Once we get that, it's gonna come to the board to decide who's hiring them.
Are you the person out with the yellow pages calling these people? That's more my question. I understand it's your job to
I
communicate.
did not reach out individually to anybody. These were all brought to me as firms to connect, contact.
But like, why would it be something that Kim Lang does? She's the HR person.
This doesn't involve HR,
It's not an HR issue.
it's an elected official. HR has no say over an elected official.
But they do have a say over staff here.
Well, they'll be
Which
interviewed.
is the accused.
Which Kim Lane will absolutely be involved in this. We just.
Kim Lane will be
This
interviewed.
was-
I don't think HR should be in charge of hiring the person to do I mean, it should be a member of this board. I can certainly take over. I've been kind of focused on the master plan in the park, but, you know, if you want me to.
You wanna take the time to do it all?
No, I just wondered how the chips fell onto you.
Because we all said not it.
Let the new kid do it.
It was the final push for the master plan, and I've been kind of heavily focused on that, so. I delegated.
Rick, did they indicate how long they would take after you hired somebody before they would get results?
It was going to be, not exactly, because all they've been given now is the general scope of what we're looking for, and they gave us an estimate based on that general scope, and then once they get into it, I'm getting the impression it's a 4 or 5 week process.
Okay, so not months.
No. Maybe, I don't know how long Polly's thing took.
The last time we did an
Ours was
internal investigation,
years.
it took months.
Okay,
4 to
I'm
6
assuming it's gonna go quicker, but I also know they have to write up the report and everything, that's another whole piece to it all, so.
Fix my mind when we would see, as a community, the results, so we're probably talking March.
At the earliest, probably, yeah.
Because the earliest we can decide is January.
I
Technically,
said weeks, it could be 13 weeks, 15 weeks, 20 weeks, I don't know.
the first meeting, it should be
I
a discussion
actually don't
item,
know.
and the second meeting in January, it would be an action item if it proceeded that far.
So one thing I will say is, and I was pleased to see this with at least one of the people here, their scope. What is their scope? What is their limit of authority?
That's what they all focus in on.
That's what
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
make sure that we understand what the scope of the investigation is and what they can and cannot do.
Right,
Thank you.
okay.
No further questions on discussion item number 11? Moving on is discussion item number 12, discussion of project tracking for items approved by the Township Board as submitted by Trustee Reiber.
Thank you. So, in my line of work, and Jim, I know you've seen action action items list, open items list. It's where an issue comes up and you assign a team and they come up and they define the problem, they define the next steps, they assign a champion and they say, this is a target date for having this thing resolved and closed. And there are a lot of items here on the board that we've approved that not being working in this office, you know, I do not have the benefit of just absorbing information through osmosis, you know, and I think that, you know, it would go even doubly so for the public out there. So my idea right here, and eventually I'd like this to make it onto the agenda so that we can formally approve this, you know, put it up for a vote, but to develop a open issues tracking item, we can call it whatever we want to, but post the items that we have approved as a board that are still open. For example, we know that the the master survey is open. I used some examples up here of the 77-acre lot. You know, what is next? What's the next step in this? When is it gonna be done? Jim said, when's the investigation? Open item, investigation ongoing, and just track that, put it someplace so that the public has access to this, so that they know, and the board knows what each step we're being taken, because, you know, government moves slowly, and from the automotive industry, 5 minutes and you're dead meat. So it's for me, I'm used to having things.
The speed of government is a real thing.
I know it is. I know it is. But I would at least like to have these things on our radar screens.
Also, keep in mind, how big is the staff where you work? How many employees?
You want to know who updates the action items list? Me.
You wanted to do
We
this
might
one?
nominate you here. That was gonna be my question, but that's my only question, is who are we going to nominate to populate this information?
Who is the closest to nominating, or to documenting these issues? I mean, Kelly
depends whose
has
project
a
it is.
staff right there.
She does?
Everybody reports to Kelly in this office,
Yeah, that's,
right?
No.
Well, okay.
So the clerk's
Tell
people
Duffy
don't
that.
report to Kelly.
My staff
and the
reports to
treasurer's
me.
people don't report to Kelly.
But-
Management does.
Then
Planning and zoning.
I would put it up then to, I don't know if Kelly would be willing to nominate, designate, or Kevin, you could help and appoint somebody in a staff that would be in this type of function, somebody that would be exposed to this type of updates on a regular basis, somebody that can talk to people and update this list on our behalf.
so I think that since you're passionate about this,
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. I think it's
we
open
oughta-
communication.
I think the areas that, this is just my thought, everyone else might say, no, but I would say that you might be the guy to do that, and you can pick up the phone and call one or none of these people to say, what's the update on this issue, so I can post it?
Tentatively, that's what I do for a living.
You
So.
might be the most qualified.
I'm used to doing this
Sounds
on,
like it.
you know what, open your mouth and see, this is the same thing in a meeting, you open up your mouth, hey, listen, we just got a volunteer to do this type of stuff. Tell you what, tentatively, for right now, short term, I will take this on, but I am gonna be looking for this to be moved into a member of the staff. Okay, somewhere within this building.
Now, the one thing so in terms of putting it out to the public, website would be a great place. We have pending ADA compliance things to sort out with the website, where Adam and I are sitting down to do an evaluation. I believe Kathleen and potentially Todd are gonna join,
In January.
to see if we're ADA compliant. And that will determine if we have to do an entire website redo. The way Adam has described it to me, and I am not a web guy. I do not.
What's
I mean,
ADA?
I go on the web, but I don't know how to
Americans
make a
with
page.
Disabilities Act.
I
what
knew
does that
that's
have
what
to
it
do
was.
with
but-
He says our page is
Exactly.
old, so in terms of modules and that sort of thing, rather than trying to program a new module into the existing website, it may be better to do a website redo, and have some of the, we're gonna invite people, once we speak with this company in January, to observe other websites of other municipalities, see if there's things they like, see if there's things they don't like, and we might steal the things we like. There's a good governance, one on the Northville Township webpage that we think is spectacular. We'd love to steal that. Not super easy to build that into our existing website. So first we'll see if ours passes or doesn't pass, and then that's gonna be the best way to put it out. Now, something that Greg does similar to this at MHOG is he just has, we know the projects that Greg has to do something with
construction
water on.
projects.
If nothing happened that month, it just stays yellow. It's, nothing happened, it's yellow, don't worry about it. If something has happened, it's green, and he puts an update. It's pre-construction meeting, permits are being sought from Eagle, just a blip about what's going on. Now, it doesn't have a projected time frame because a lot of times you don't know what the projected time frame is. I mean, you can put it on there, but it may not always have that.
Well, at least you see it's still out there, sitting out there.
Yes.
All right, what's ADA in regard to the website? It can't be Disability Act.
It
can
is.
It is.
And,
Like the auto read, like,
Oh, okay.
Visually, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
All kinds of
thing
stuff.
where it
I
would
asked the
read to
same
you-
question and didn't necessarily get an answer that made total sense to me, but it's a real thing, and
Okay.
Joe can
April
chime
is
in
the
on that.
Well,
deadline.
I know enough to be dangerous, but you are correct. It's
Okay.
to help out visually impaired and hearing impaired.
Well, that makes sense.
And our website may not be compliant right now, and if it isn't, then we need to look, that'll be one of those things that we have to do, an upgrade on our website.
They will advise us if it's possible to bring it into compliance.
If you would rather, if that's gonna be costly, expensive, and time-consuming, I'm not opposed to, if it's okay to use the printer and the ink here at the township to just create an Excel file, we run a bunch of copies off it and have it in a stack in the desk, and people that wanna be here can get it, people that want it emailed to them, they can reach out, and it's just an Excel file, that's all it is. It's very,
The only thing is it can't be editable.
I'd save it as a PDF than possibly do something like that.
And people can
Although
manipulate
PDFs
that
can be
too.
edited. I mean, I don't know how to do it, but I'm not really the guy
Save
you
it as a
wanna
picture.
use as your.
PDF is fine.
PDF is fine.
Yeah.
You can't
I'm just
protect
telling
from
you.
every
So,
potential.
can we have one more comment from back here? The other thing that I think I'd like to see, and I get asked about this a lot from people, is the status of projects that we already have going out there. Like the Door Road apartment complex. What's going on with that? It's been set in, I mean, are they actually moving forward with it? Did they die? What's going on with Middletown Market,
Slow.
I know, well, I know what it is now, but nobody else knows what it is. we
And
should.
some of those things technically, like there's milestones they have to pass with the planning commission, which Kelly can share more, or Bill can share with you. The planning commission is going to know more about those processes than us. It won't come back before us until it's ready for a final.
Well, what about like, the subdivision going in by the roundabout down there?
What was the name of this?
They can't.
Legacy Hills.
Legacy.
So Legacy Hills, I believe, is on the January planning commission agenda?
They were waiting for Eagle permits. They needed permits from the state of Michigan, so they've been in a holding pattern while they get those permits. They have recently acquired those permits, so that'll be coming back to the board
But see,
to
sometimes
the first of the
those
year.
are nice, because I know once spring gets here, they can't cut the trees, so then you're saying, oh shit, they're off for another year. And, so that's,
Yep.
people, always wanna know, we've approved these things, but yet, especially the Door Road apartment thing, the guys, is this now just an eyesore that we've gotta fix, or?
It's still active. I know they ran into a lot of issues with the sewer and water lines with MHOG.
So,
So we do like the idea, absolutely.
good.
It's just the implementation of the idea and how to get the information.
let me throw something together. So for anybody, if we have any viewers out there, email me topics you're interested in getting an update on, and I'll put them on a list. Board members, if you've got something floating around asking questions, let me know what that is. I'll put them together on a list, and then maybe by next meeting we have, I'll just have a starter, an initial list of items to track.
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay, with that, we are on to board comments. Any board comments? Any updates from our board members? Trustee Walker, would you like to update on our last BAFA meeting?
Our last BAFA meeting, we, citizen at large, Mike Corrigan was reelected for, I believe, a 2-year term as citizen at large.
It's a 3, which is odd.
Is it 3?
but Yes, it's a
Okay.
3-year term.
My apologies. Yeah, we had some good discussion over the candidates that submitted applications, and it was decided that he was the best fit. Mr. Pippley will be replaced in January, I believe,
By Susan Gardner.
by
From
Susan
the city of
Gardner.
Brighton.
Yep. And
Will she be treasurer?
We will decide those positions at the first meeting in January, so I don't know if she'll be interested or who will.
yeah,
I know who won't.
you know who else won't?
Are you?
Right.
You know, if nominated, I will serve, but I'm not actively campaigning for that position. We did get a spectacular update on the Livingston County EMS response. The problem with the VHF was isolated, and it has been temporarily bypassed and is about to be fully repaired. There is one more thing that has to happen, I do believe, for it to be fully functional. It is,
I think they'll know it's fully functional when they turn it on and it's fully functional.
yeah.
Well, I
They
understand.
believe that they've found it.
They believe, yes. So there's still a little bit of work, actually on the county, the next board meeting, they were approving some contracts and there's some great things happening. Both Trustee Walker and I thanked our fire chief, Michael O'Brien, for really sticking his neck out to put out the resolution that he put out, calling attention to it. We really didn't know the scope of it all, and that just coincidentally happened right before Trustee Walker and I attended a meeting organized by Brian Ignatowski with Tom Barrett, where we discussed issues. It was with all the local leaders within the 48th district, and many were in attendance, and we were able to bring up, along with Jeff Bierman from, he is the president of the Village of Pinckney, he was able to, we were able to talk to Congressman Barrett and really relay how serious of an issue this was. And he secured $495,000 in funding from the federal government to get the system repaired. So that came about because of Chief O'Brien taking action because he was frustrated with the results he was getting. So we thanked him immensely for doing that.
Well, and wasn't it just 3 weeks ago, there was a night where
Yep.
the signals and the calls were not going
That was
out to the
pre-repair,
firefighter?
and yes, it was not a great thing.
They had,
made
Thanksgiving
it through.
weekend.
yes.
Happy Thanksgiving.
There was a switch and a transformer, and not the kind that are in the movies, not a Camaro that becomes a robot. So it was an issue, but Motorola found it, and again, I'm guessing it's gonna pass. They are going to enter into a maintenance contract to keep the system up, and they are progressing forward with the 800 megahertz tower. You know, they're gonna add 4 towers, and that's going to be huge.
And we're very lucky to have an organization like BAFA. It's very well put together and very well run.
So, Ed, has anyone else?
Yeah,
had
I got
any-
one thing I want to do. I'm going to toot someone's horn here that probably isn't expecting it. Treasurer Hunt got a letter from a resident. And let me read it to you. It says, "Hello, Ms. Hunt. Thank you very much for your kind reminder about the ACH for the 2025 winter tax bill. It was very kind of you to have done this and greatly appreciated. You and all the workers at the building are superb, talented, and extremely helpful people, and I thank you and all your colleagues for being there for us. You are appreciated. I extend to you and all of your colleagues season's greetings and best wishes for the new year."
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got some people that think we're doing a pretty good job.
We do. Nothing, Planning Commission did not meet for December.
ZBA didn't meet in December.
ZBA did not. Anything from Parks and Rec?
I would have a meeting tomorrow, and we're not having it.
Oh.
Not enough to talk about, I guess.
Okay, well,
So next month.
I
I know.
believe that pretty much exhausts our board membership, so if there's any other comments that anyone would like?
I'd like to wish all of the people listening and watching and that are here a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
Snuck up.
On that note, I move to adjourn.
I would support that.
All right, motion, support. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned at 9:57.
Before 10 o'clock. Barely.